Friday, disgruntled scholar transport drivers in the south of Joburg downed tools threatening to extend their shutdown into this week. It followed a blitz operation by the Transport Department, which saw more than 60 unroadworthy minibus taxis impounded and dozens of fines issued for non-compliance. The provincial crackdown was triggered by a fatal accident that killed 14 children in Vanderbijl Park last week. Speaking on the sidelines of a joint funeral service for 3 of the 14 learners, Gauteng Education spokesperson Steve Mabona sought to allay the fears of parents.
That on Monday we're not going to be disrupted. They must be assisted, those that need to be assisted, to make sure that the vehicles are supposed to be the way they are supposed to be on our roads.
Power utility Eskom is assisting police with investigating a shooting which claimed the life of one of its employees at the Kriel power station. This after a married couple who were both employees at the utility were attacked at the weekend. The husband was killed in that attack while his wife is recovering in hospital, Eskom spokesperson Daphne Mokoena.
We are also providing support to the family and our staff members during this difficult period. We'll continue to share relevant updates to the extent possible as information becomes available.
While a social media post has since surfaced claiming that the shooting was a targeted hit, Mokoena says the claims are premature as well as inappropriate.
We urge the public and media to refrain from repeating unverified claims or speculation and to allow law enforcement the necessary space to complete their investigation process.
To this now, road agency SANRAL says it continues to monitor national roads affected by the recent heavy rains and flooding in Mpumalanga. Parts of the R37 between Sabi, Nelspruit and Bombela were damaged during 2 weeks of bad weather earlier this month. SANRAL says sections of the road remain closed off pending further assessments. Human Settlements Minister Thembisi Melane also visited some affected areas in that province at the weekend, including the Bushbuck Ridge local municipality where more than 2,000 households were impacted. Mpumalanga recorded 20 fatalities linked to the severe weather. Simelane says aid is being prioritized for affected residents while efforts are also being made to rebuild damaged public infrastructure.
Our Human Settlement Development Grant does allow the MEC to take a portion of that grant and fix the road. Because you can't have a house which you can access, then that house is no longer useful. So our grant allows us to fix a bit of some sewer. Let's say there's a destruction because of floods of a pipe and now sewer is flowing down the streets.
ANC Deputy President Paul Mashatile has downplayed his presidential ambitions, saying his focus is on fixing local government. With the ANC's National Elective Conference set for next year, soft campaigns have already been launched by some candidates. But during the ANC's Lekgotla at the weekend, the party's Secretary-General Fikile Mbalula gave a stern warning to members about campaigning so far ahead of time. Thabiso Koba reports.
From Thabo Mbeki, Kgalema Motlanthe, Jacob Zuma to Cyril Ramaphosa, ANC deputy presidents have historically ascended to the top position since 1994. The current ANC deputy president Paul Mashatile has been seen by some in the party as the natural successor to Ramaphosa in 2027. However, Mashatile says he's not thinking about that, at least for now.
I think we should all agree that at some point, as the Secretary General said, he said at some point, probably after the local government elections, the issue of debates, discussion about succession will be made open. So for now, we are focusing on local government. Let's fix local government. That's our preoccupation.
ANC Secretary-General Fikile Mbalula says any 2027 campaigning is banned until the party's National Executive Committee makes a pronouncement. Thabiso Koba, Eyewitness News.
And in the Philippines, at least 15 people have been killed and 28 others are still missing after a ferry sank in the early hours of this morning. According to local authorities, the ferry had more than 350 people on board. At least 316 have been rescued so far, with emergency teams saying they are struggling to handle the sudden influx of survivors. The region has a long history of disasters involving the inter-island ferries that are in use. In 2023, more than 30 people were killed when a fire ripped through a ferry in the southern Philippines. Gold is trading at $4,988.56 an ounce. The rand is at 16.11 to the dollar, 22.01 to the pound, 19.10 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $65.88 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got faulty traffic lights reported in Alexandra at the N3 and London Road, bound to cause delays. They're also out of order in Edenville at Moorfontein Road and Van Riebeeck Road.
And in your sports, Sunrisers Eastern Cape crowned SA20 champions after a 6-wicket win over the Pretoria Capitals. Man United beat Arsenal 3-2 to dent the Gunners' title hopes. There was also victory for Chelsea and Villa. Australian Open Women's defending champion Marion Keys has been knocked out in the 4th round.
A partly cloudy Monday across Gauteng with afternoon showers expected. Johannesburg starting at a low of 16 degrees, peaking at 30. Pretoria 18 and 32 and Vereniging 16 and 32 degrees. The top story in Eyewitness News this hour, the Gauteng Education Department has moved to assure parents that scholar transport services will continue uninterrupted today.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
Get your brain in the game and win big on the Brain of 702. Enter now on primemediaplus.com. T's and C's apply.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
On 702.
Let's walk the talk.
7 minutes after 6 o'clock. It's Monday, the 26th of January, 2026. Yes, I am in sackcloth and ashes. I tried to stay up last night to watch that game. What does Cindy Paluta call them? A mid-table team against the league leaders. I saw interviews with both Pep Guardiola and Sir Alex Ferguson, arguably two of the best coaches to ever do it. Both saying Arsenal were unstoppable, the best team in the world right now. And maybe that's what brought the extra pressure. Manchester United are an incredible victory, well-deserved. They just seemed the hungrier team. We were sloppy. Our play, our passes, even our set pieces. We did get one goal from one of them, but not the standard we have shown. If you're an Arsenal fan, do you join me in rending your garments this morning? If you're a Man United fan, how excited are you? Welcome to the show. It's the start of a brand new week.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
On 702.
Let's walk the talk.
9 minutes after 6 o'clock, our menu this morning, might we run out of ARVs? We've got the world's largest HIV prevention program, especially in terms of distributing treatment for those who are HIV positive. Two of our biggest suppliers have run into financial trouble. We've invited the Health Minister, Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi, to maybe calm fears around the supply. The Department of Health says we've got sufficient stocks for now, but what happens down the road? Will we run into some troubles? And there was the world stage, the who's who's of business and politics gathered in one room, in one place. This is where you could have meetings in side rooms, outside of the plenary halls. State your case. This is where you network and you schmooze and you socialize and you do your elevator pitch. What was ours? What was our elevator pitch? There was footage from Davos where the International Relations and Cooperations Minister, Ronald Lamola, was giving a presentation, and he was reading off a laptop or an iPad, something of that sort, but he was reading a prepared speech. I've interviewed this man. He can speak incredibly well off the cuff. He's a trained lawyer. We saw the likes of the Canadian Prime Minister really stealing the limelight from the US President Donald Trump, speaking forcefully, speaking thoughtfully. What was our elevator pitch, and how do you deal with that kind of pressurized moment when there were so many controversies swirling about? You're trying to sort of be there but not be there, because that's really what we were trying to do in Davos. We were trying to make sure that we're having the right conversations with potential investors and business people and the money movers. but we really wanted to be under the radar as far as people like Trump are concerned. Let him go after Greenland. Let him go after Iran and leave us alone. But at the same time, there we were with those naval drills off Cape Town with the Russians, the Chinese, and the Iranians. And then the scramble to say, actually, the president issued an instruction to say the Iranians were not to participate, but be mere observers. Because, of course, AGOA is still something we are negotiating our participation in. There are all these balls in the air. What was our elevator pitch? I can't get over the line by Mark Carney, the Canadian Prime Minister, who said simply, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu, babe.
You're with Bongani Bingwa.
702 weekday mornings, 6 to 9 a.m.
11 after 6, we'll take your calls on 011 883 0702, your WhatsApp voice notes on 072 702 1702. How was your weekend? Your reflections on the weekend? Did you relax? Are you feeling relieved that it's the end of January? You know, there was that meme towards the end of last year, I think it was in December. This guy with a bloodied face, black eyes, swollen eyes, beaten to a pulp. And they said this was the guy who had gone ahead to 2026 to go have a look-see. And that's how he returned. And this January has felt like it's exactly that, right? How are you feeling? I'm not alone, of course. As always, I've got a team of colleagues behind the scenes. Karabo, not wearing a Pirates t-shirt today. That's always good to see. We've got Bapelile Sambo, producer. Siamtanda Matiso, producer. We've got KG starting the clock, back in his seat. And a very good morning to you, Amoramila.
Good morning, Bongani. Morning, 702 Landers.
Was it a good weekend? What did we get up to?
It was a good weekend, but one to reflect as well. I spent a lot of time looking at the families on social media, the families who've lost their babies through the accident, and I was just saddened by how really they've had to be dealt with such a reality. You know, they had to somehow find closure. Some of them, I was actually surprised that they were that strong enough to be able to stand and speak in front of people and talk about their children. And yeah, it was my weekend.
It's a long road ahead for many of those parents. I can tell you that for free. Buteo Haripe?
A good weekend. At what point did you realize that you are now an elder statesman in your family?
I can tell you, because it was this weekend that I received the letter.
No way.
I got the letter.
You were the uncle.
I was upset actually that the letter had been read before it. You know, because it was delivered via.
So how dare you?
How dare you open the letter? My whole thing was like, but who is it addressed to? If you don't know what the letter is, this is when a family wants to start the process of negotiations and the lobola and the whatever. And it's sent to the prospective bride's uncle. So I got a letter. So I'm very much an uncle now. I'm a proper uncle.
That weekend was the same.
Listen, if you don't have a letter, you're not an uncle. You're not Joshua Dore.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, what prompts that question?
No, it was because my father actually rolled me into a meeting I didn't think I should be in. So my nephew is going to initiation school this year. And he was like, wow, why are you staying behind? You need to go and talk. Let's go. And I was just like, man.
You're a junior uncle.
There's no turning back.
No, you're a junior
uncle. No,
but
there's no turning back for me. After that, it's just like...
But you're still a junior uncle.
I'm here to receive a letter.
You'll graduate when you get the letter.
I'm in no rush.
You'll be a Joshua Dore.
Trust me, I'm in no rush.
Let's walk the talk.
702.
Our shout out this morning is simply this. Have you had good intentions that have blown up in your face? You were well-intentioned, you were well-meaning, and whatever it is you're intending to do has blown up in your face. I ask this in light of a conversation, do I call it even a debate, that has sprung up again. We spoke about it at length last year, but the originator of the idea is doubling down on it, as it were. Dr. Peter Groenewald, who is, of course, the Minister of Correctional Services and a former leader of the Freedom Front Plus, is expanding on that idea of his that he first brought up around corporal punishment. And he says our laws are well-intentioned around human rights, around the rights of an accused person, etc., etc. But he says, are our good intentions blowing up in our faces? Have a listen.
If you've got a young person, 18, 19, 20 years old, for shoplifting, waiting trial, 3 months, 4 months, do you know what happens in jail? Do you know that those young people, they get in there, they get raped, they are assaulted, and you talk about human rights. Do you think those are better human rights? What about them? I say, let's look and have the debate on corporal punishment. Not just randomly. The court must decide. You get 6 of the best, for instance.
Yeah.
And then you're released.
6 shots.
Yes.
At the back. Yeah.
Yes, in its control.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a social worker standing by to see it is according to rules and everything.
With a shambok.
Well, they call it likies.
6 likes.
Yeah, it was not a shambok. It was a likey.
A likey, right? Well, what do you think? He says you get a youngster, maybe still potentially able to pursue a better path, maybe to go study, maybe to start a business, get a job, look after his family, contribute towards society. This person gets in with the wrong crowd, does something they ought not to have done. Instead of letting them go through the normal process, how many awaiting trial prisoners, remandees, are languishing in our jails, where in some instances, by the time they stand before a magistrate and are sentenced, they've already served a longer period than the custodial sentence they are given once they are convicted, because they've been awaiting and the system just isn't working. And in the meantime, they're exposed to people who are accused of serious crimes, and they themselves become criminalized, quite apart from the abuse they might endure. If you're the parent of a 20-year-old and 19-year-old young man, would you really want them to go spend 3, 4 months, 6 months behind bars, even if they're innocent, whilst they're waiting to have their matter heard? Or would you say 6 of the best, these 6 likies, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and their lesson is learned, and off you go? Do you see where he's coming from? Yes, we understand human, and he says, look, we can have a social worker there, we can make sure that it's administered, in a particular way, that it's not just skeeps, what is it? Skeet, scope, and?
Donor.
Is that a good word?
I'm not sure. Now that you look at me like that.
I was like, you're not taking me to the
You set me
BCCSA. Bliksem. Is that a good word? I hope so. No intention to use it badly if it is a bad word, but you follow what I mean, right? It's not just happy-go-lucky, let's gooi, but there's a social worker, it's done in a particular way, and it's all controlled. And the young person has learned their lesson and off they go. Are our laws too well-intentioned and often just blow up in our faces? Your thoughts. That, by the way, is a podcast Conversations with Leletu. That's where the minister was being interviewed.
Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
The Gauteng Education Department moving to assure parents that Scholar Transport Services will continue uninterrupted. Last Friday, disgruntled Scholar Transport drivers in the south of Johannesburg downed tools, threatening to extend their shutdown this week. This was following a blitz by the Department of Transport, where they impounded more than 60 unroadworthy vehicles. And one of the debates that I think we need to have here is, where are the owners? Where are the owners? Firstly, if your vehicle is roadworthy, why would you down tools? Because you're not going to be impounded. Where are the owners? The focus has been so much on the drivers, but not the owners. Surely they also have some culpability when it comes to their Scholar transportation, because ultimately the drivers are hired help, right? They are the hired hand. They're not the ones responsible for the state or the condition of the vehicles they drive. Their own lives might actually be at risk given the unroadworthiness of some of these vehicles. We're pointing a finger at the drivers. Where are the owners?
You're with Bongani Bingwa.
702 weekday mornings, 6 to 9 a.m.
Mateo, you've got a question of your own?
Yeah, I want to know this morning from you and the rest of the 702 landers. Bongani, I know you're going through a dry January, but do you still drink alcohol? And if you were to stop drinking completely, what would make you stop? Is it health reasons if the doctor tells you to do so? Exorbitant prices that would keep you away from the shopping aisles? Or maybe a member of your family saying it's enough now?
I had 2 big tests this weekend. These were the ones that I was always going to be nervous about. Firstly, I was invited to a 50th on Saturday evening. It was really lovely. We were in this inner city. Well, not inner city. It was in Bromfontein at the Bannister Hotel on the first floor there in Bromfontein. I didn't even know it was there. It was so lovely to have views of the city. So many people in the media industry, the publicist and PR machine, really extraordinaire. Maria McCloy was celebrating her 50th. Happy birthday again, Maria. And all sorts of people were there. Nothemba Madumo was there. Melanie San was there. King Ta was there. Tandiswa was a couple of people in the industry. It was really, really lovely. They had a great bar. And I drank a passion fruit and lemonade and sparkling water.
Classic.
I did so well. Earlier in the day, I had book club, which is always about the books and booze. I had those grapefruit thingies from Woolies, those pink drinks. What do you call them? Those pink...
Spiritif.
Those spritz
non-alcoholic.
things, but completely. And it wasn't that difficult. So what would make me stop is breaking the habit. It's just knowing I can have fun without it. And I'm increasingly getting there.
You're getting more convinced.
Yeah, this is day 31 for me. It's day 31 for me. So I'm getting there.
Okay.
Yeah.
What will make you stop?
Oh, definitely health reasons. If the doctor said you need to stop, I wouldn't even think twice about it.
Yeah, I also don't think it's a price point thing for me. If my family were to ask me, or the doctor would say, then
it's hard to argue with the doctor.
Yeah.
702.
Weather.
A partly cloudy day for Gauteng this Monday. Scattered showers expected in the afternoon. Temperatures maxing at 30 degrees. For Pretoria and for Eniging, your high is 32. Cape Town, 28. Durban maxing at 31 degrees.
EWN Traffic.
Now, this EWN Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now. You could save on your car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Amo?
Well, Bongani, we've got delays in the Devlin area. This is just as you head towards the Deep Cliff interchange. Your car is stuck on the road along this route near the Golden Highway. It is causing heavy delays. Please be on the lookout there. And then traffic lights are out of order in Alberton Marisdale at the R59 North, right at Swartkopies Road, causing heavy delays. So if you're wondering what those delays are, why those delays are there, it's due to those faulty traffic lights. And then, of course, they're also out of order in Alexandra at the N3 and London Road, bound to cause delays. Please be on the lookout there. More updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. There's a car with a couple stealing glances at each other. In a week, their lives will change forever as they exchange their I-do's. The Outsurance pointsmen know it's not just a car in traffic, it's a love story on the move. Every story's different and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005 in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
Start your day with Bongani Bingwa
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
25 after 6, things you need to know at this hour. Listen, we've all had that travel moment, right, where there's an overly loud passenger, perhaps somebody with a bright reading light, and you're trying to sleep. Behavior that would make an already long journey feel a little unbearable. But what happens when that disruption really becomes about safety, particularly at 30,000 feet? I don't know if you've seen footage of those EFF supporters who went to East London the other day, ostensibly to support their leader as he faced pre-sentencing for that firearm, that illegal discharge of a firearm. They're on what appears to be a Fly SAF Air aircraft, and they start doing mid-air. And it doesn't appear that the cabin crew did anything about it. You can see in the video the annoyance of the other passengers who were on that flight. and they're just singing their songs and being quite loud and rambunctious on the aircraft. And I just wondered, apparently they're investigating the airline. As I say, this footage filmed on an 189-seater aircraft on Thursday shows this group dressed in red, wearing berets, and they were traveling to that pre-sentencing hearing. And it's a really worrying one, because now what's going to happen? They're going to deny it. How they're going to go after individual members? What for? Singing? And what should the airline have done to prepare its cabin crew to deal with something like that? The bail application of Victor Majola, this is the man accused of being the alleged mastermind behind the murder of Warwick or DJ Warros Stock. That's expected to be heard at the Joburg Magistrates Court today. This follows an earlier attempt by the defense to introduce additional CCTV footage that had been circulating on social media from the day DJ Warros was killed. That request was rejected by the magistrate. Clouds are gathering, she would say. The Minister of Water and Sanitation, Phemi Majodina, is in Dakar, in Senegal, attending a high-level preparatory meeting ahead of the 2026 United Nations Water Conference. Hey? When Phemi Majodina is our representative on the international... Like some understand her here at home, right? We understand her. But, imagine she goes and she says, the clouds are gathering. Yeah, On this day in 2020, the world shaken by the tragic loss of the basketball legend Kobe Bean Bryant and his daughter Gianna, who were among 9 people killed in a helicopter crash in California. A 5-time NBA champion, Bryant spent his entire career with the Los Angeles Lakers and widely regarded as one of the greatest of all time. And it's one of those conversations that you always think about, right? Which celebrity's passing affected you the most, and what was it about them that made you feel as if it was a personal loss to you, even though perhaps you had never met them? Talking of celebrities, you know those people that you feel are one way, but you're shocked to discover are something else entirely? You love this person's public persona, but the more you read about them from people who've met him or her, who've interacted with them, the more horrified you are. That's how I felt about Ellen DeGeneres, the award-winning American actress, comedian, writer, formerly TV host. It's her birthday today. She was born on this day in 1958. She became a household name through her Ellen DeGeneres show, hugely successful 19 seasons of a syndicated talk show that ran from 2003 until 2022. It was all about laughter, surprises, and kindness, until we were told, behind the scenes, Ms. DeGeneres wasn't so kind.
702.
The newspapers.
Mbali Dlamini, a very good morning to you.
Good morning, Bongs. Good morning.
What's grabbing your attention in the papers?
You know the old saying that when 2 elephants fight,
The grass suffers.
The grass that
the
suffers.
ants are crushed.
Yeah, so you know the tensions that have been taking place between Beijing and Tokyo that have been playing out around territory and threats of military, whatever. I think sometimes we forget that ordinary people also suffer when there's tensions between big nations. There were long lines at a Japan zoo yesterday, with most people coming to say goodbye to the last 2 pandas in Japan because they have to take them back to China.
The Chinese want their pandas back.
They want their pandas back. It's part of, you know, when they say you are petty labelle and you're going to be as petty as you possibly can be in these tensions, that's exactly what's taking place. So China wants their pandas back. This will mean that it's a story actually that is in the BBC, but the twins' departure, so the twins are these pandas that have been living in Japan, will leave Japan without any pandas for the first time since 1972. There were people standing in lines, 3 hours, 4 hours standing in a line to say
to
goodbye,
the pandas.
taking their children that have been going to see them at the zoo since they were babies, to take your last pictures. I don't even remember the last time I went to the zoo.
Japan, hey?
Kumnande Japan.
Those are their problems.
Those are their
Let's
problems.
go say goodbye to the pandas.
Yes, of course.
Must be nice. The front page of the Sowetan is a really worrying story. Inside school invaded by Zamazamas. Residents calling for help to reclaim an abandoned primary school seized 7 years ago by illegal miners. The principal's office was turned into a tavern. The classrooms turned into homes and places to process illicit gold. For 7 years, it's carried on like this, and law enforcement looked the other way. Those in charge didn't know. A big angaz, a big I don't give a finger. Aging taxpayer base, a fiscal risk, says the Business Day. People aged 55 or more pay a significant chunk, and I'd imagine there are not enough young people entering the job market to replace them. So that's a ticking time bomb. Give these doctors jobs. State hospitals under strain. Why are over 1,200 young doctors who've completed their community service still unemployed? Is what the Citizen is asking this morning.
EWN Business.
You want to know, Muteo Kharipa, do you still drink alcohol? And if you were to stop drinking, what would the reason be? Health, exorbitant prices, your partner or kids or family ask you to stop? I want to encourage people, try it. If you don't think you can, maybe not for the rest of your life, try the 100 days I'm on.
To see how long you can go without.
To see how long you can go. If you say to people, you don't have a problem, prove it to yourself. You don't have to tell anyone. You don't have to announce, but try it.
All right. I'm asking the question because as the national budget date creeps closer, South Africa's Treasury Department is looking to raise taxes on alcohol even higher to try and curb consumption in the country. According to a Sunday Times report, the Treasury held a virtual meeting with alcohol producers in November to discuss proposed excise adjustments to wine and beer aimed at reducing alcohol consumption. The South African Medical Research Council's Centre for Health Economics and Decision Science says the scale of alcohol-related harm in South Africa cannot be ignored. It estimates that alcohol is linked to about 62,000 deaths a year in the country, with 2.6 million deaths globally. Alcohol companies say above-inflation excise increases could drive consumers towards the illicit alcohol market, the black market, saying this would undermine both revenue collection in the country and efforts to reduce consumption, something we've seen, of course, with cigarettes. Illicit alcohol constitutes approximately 18% of total alcohol consumption in South Africa. Now, the South African Alcohol Policy Alliance says the higher taxes are both necessary and overdue, making the arguments that some alcohol brands are even cheaper than basic necessities, making them too accessible, saying some beer brands are just as much or a little bit less than bread, so it's too accessible. Let's take the prices higher so people stop buying alcohol. So that's the question I'm asking this morning. Would that make you stop if you had a 6-pack for 250 Rand or a 500 Rand bottle of wine? Would that make you stop buying alcohol?
Yeah, I just wonder about the illicit trade and and people getting it cheaper without the safeguards. So that's something to be concerned about.
Yeah, the Rand this hour, 16 Rand 10 cents against the US dollar. It's set to reach the psychological 16 Rand mark this week. We'll see how that goes. At 19.09 against the euro and at 21 Rand 97 cents against the British pound. Price of gold, fresh highs, $5,075 an ounce. Platinum also up more than 3% at $2,867. Brent crude at $65.92 a barrel. More business after 7.
Apologies for the delay. Let's go straight to Mbali Dlamini at the news desk. Good morning.
Thanks, Bongani. Good morning. Controversy continues to surround the ANC's Greater Joburg Elective Conference following the discovery of its ballot papers at a house in Pretoria. The conference last month saw Loyiso Masuku narrowly beat Dada Morero as the party's regional chairperson, but it was marred by allegations of bribery and election rigging and is now under investigation by the police and the ANC's national leadership. ANC convener of deployees in Gauteng, Khumbudzo Nchabeni, was present at the scene yesterday when the ballots were discovered by police.
It's important that we safeguard the ANC processes, and I can't talk about the details. The report will be submitted to the relevant structures so that they can be processed in line with the ANC procedures. Unfortunately, I can't say anything more.
Nchabeni says it's still too early to draw conclusions.
The ANC has processes that are tight enough to safeguard its own processes, and the ANC is an organization that continuously builds on any weaknesses that may arise, and we've got remedies for the weaknesses that may arise. There is recourse the ANC will have to process and discuss the way forward.
Environmental Minister Willie Okamp insists it's possible to grow the economy and create jobs while simultaneously protecting the environment. 2 months since taking up the portfolio in a move that has caused ructions within the DA, Okamp is focusing firmly on challenges faced by his department, including poaching and equitable fishing quotas. Lindsay Dentlinger spoke to him on the sidelines of Parliament.
Minister Willie Okamp says he wants his department to be a contributor to growing the economy. He says it's the job of Forestry, Fisheries and the Environment Ministry not only to find the opportunities, but to strike the balance in protecting the environment.
It is not right, for example, that somebody living in Lambert's Bay or in Elands Bay, that were born there, that grew up there, that they must compete for a fishing license with somebody staying in Boksburg or Soweto. We need to ensure that our fishing communities are treated fairly.
Okamp also wants stronger enforcement to nab abalone poachers and says he will engage other spheres of government to make this happen. He's also concerned about the poaching of rhino and says there's been a spike in the Kruger National Park in the last year.
We've got to up our efforts. I was briefed by Sandparks on what they are doing and how they are fighting this fight against the poachers, and we will need money.
Okamp says he's already engaged potential donors to assist in the purchase of costly technology, to assist in patrol and monitoring efforts. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
A 19-year-old is due to appear in the Athlone Magistrates Court today for his alleged involvement in the Philippi East mass shooting, where 9 people were gunned down. According to police, 3 attackers stormed an illegal liquor outlet, opening fire on patrons more than a week ago. 6 of the victims were killed on the scene. 1 died en route to hospital, while another died a few hours later. The 9th victim succumbed to injuries days after the attack. Police spokesperson Novella Botelwa says the Serious and Violent Crimes Unit arrested one of the alleged perpetrators on Wednesday in Zwelithemba.
A 19-year-old suspect is expected to appear in the Athlone Magistrate Court. He is facing 9 counts of murder and an attempted murder. With investigations gaining momentum, more arrests are expected in due course.
In your weather, a partly cloudy Monday across Gauteng with afternoon thundershowers expected, lows of between 16 and 18 degrees and highs of between 30 and 32.
And in the traffic, we've got an accident. This is in Lakefield, right along the N12 West. It's near Atlas Road. It's causing heavy delays. There's also queuing traffic on the N3 North. In fact, bumper-to-bumper traffic between the Yelands turnoff and Woodfontein Road.
The top story in EWN. Controversy continues to surround the ANC's Greater Johannesburg elective conference following the discovery of ballot papers at a house in Pretoria.
There's a new way to experience all your favorites. Pulse Africa, the 24/7 fast channel, now live on PrimeMediaPlus.com and the Prime Media Plus app, bringing you the best of Prime Media around the clock. Watch the biggest moments from 7:02. It's non-stop entertainment and authentic African storytelling, all from Africa's leading media network. Pulse Africa, only on the PrimeMediaPlus.com and Prime Media Plus app.
The team's on a roll today. Let me focus on payroll. Duty calls in the kitchen. That's why I have a business insurer that is agile and on the ball all the time on all things. I chose My Way Business Insurance, getting 24/7 emergency service and saving on my premiums, plus my business assist to handle my admin.
Visit myway.co.za or dial 0860 64 64 64 and get a quote today. My Way is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's, C's and standard rates apply. My Way. Live your way.
This message is brought to you by Eskom. Redefining for a better future.
Are you running a business? Every rand counts. Save electricity and cut costs by switching off lights, computers, and air cons after hours. Use energy-efficient lighting and equipment and make saving electricity part of your daily routine. Smart energy habits mean lower bills and greener business future. Let's power success efficiently.
Let's use electricity wisely. Eskom.
Hey guys, this is Robert Marawa, Hollywood Bet's brand ambassador. Playing responsibly is part of the winning strategy. Make smart choices and continue to score. If you or someone that you know needs help, call the South African Responsible Gambling toll-free counseling line on 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. Hollywood Bet supports responsible gambling. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop.
Do you suffer from migraines? Have you been previously diagnosed by a doctor and treated for migraine? Ask your pharmacist about previously prescribed migraine treatments that are now available without prescription. Brought to you by Sandoz.
Coming up in the next hour, what's the question? It's brought to you by Outsurance. Up to 3,000 Rand in cash is up for grabs. So send us an answer based on something you heard on the show that piqued your interest. We'll give you $1,000. WhatsApp us your name and the answer to 072 702 1702. Then later, someone else will ask a question and they'll win 2,000 Rand. SMS out to 45142 now. And you could save on your car insurance.
702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Hey, Bongani team. The suggestion by the Minister of the prisons, think it would be a great idea just to scare these children because also not to jeopardize their future. Also, by this way you can see repeat offenders and yeah. So not a bad idea. We grew up with that same system, whereby if you were naughty, instead of sending you to jail, etc., hoping it would scare the child enough into living in a social society. So yeah, maybe a good idea.
Morning, Bongani. I think Edwin Cameron has repeatedly called for this. There are too many young people languishing in jail, and we look at what the cost is to keep these people in jail versus the cost of actually opening up centers where we need to train and upskill people. We are wasting billions, criminalizing our population because our economic policies have failed. So we do need to relook at society. It's the same thing putting somebody who's smoking weed in jail. What a waste of time, really.
The libertarian in me says, ooh, corporal punishment, it just doesn't sit well with me, right? I'm all about human rights and social justice. But at the same time, gosh, would you really want your 19-year-old, 20-year-old languishing for months, becoming hardened because they're exposed to the worst of the worst? Or, as Peter Groenewald suggests, 6 likies. You'll have a social worker there. You'll make sure it's not excessive. It's not overboard. And maybe that'll give them the scare of their life. Hey, what are your thoughts?
Bongani, my condolences to you and your fellow Gunners. Yeah, I'm Man United MC here. So happy this morning. Bongani, you are just a small team. Even this league, I don't see you lifting it. Never.
EWN Sport.
Listen, I know we want to talk about baby AB. Cindy Paluta, a very good morning to you. I didn't hear my alarm this morning. Because I actually
Because you cried yourself to sleep, and then from the misery, your body was so drained that you couldn't wake up.
Here's the thing, I watched the game.
Yeah, bo?
And because it kind of seesawed and was so dramatic, when you lose a game like that, or your team does, more accurately, you can't just, switch off the TV and go to sleep. Do you know what I mean? So by the time I did fall, I did cry myself to sleep, and I'm in sackcloth and ashes this morning.
And I wasn't even going to bring it up, but that must have really been horrible because on Saturday, Pirates were goalless with Skekone, so they even missed the opportunity to go top.
Anyway, let's talk about baby AB because we're about to
get
the T20 World Cup and we've got some stars shining.
Let's do what you tried to do last night, which is put Arsenal to the back of your mind and think about it later. But the Sunrisers Eastern Cape are SA20 champions. They beat the Pretoria Capitals by 6 wickets. Capitals were 2-for-1 and then fought back to be 158-for-7 thanks to man of the match Dewald Brevis' smashing 100.
101. Janssen took 3 for 10. Sunrisers Eastern Cape were also in trouble on 48 for 4 when Breetzke's unbeaten 68 and Stubbs' unbeaten 63 took them to the win with just 4 balls to spare. Apologies, the Capitals were 1 for 2 at that point. Capitals captain Maharaj on Brevis' performance.
If you're honest, maybe we held him back a little bit at the start of the comp, but I think with responsibility, batting at 4, he showed what he's capable of. For the last 3 games, I think he's got 2 50s and 100 in a row. So I'm pretty sure he'll carry that momentum into the South African team in this West Indies series and the World Cup and just going forward in general.
The news that Bongani's trying to avoid now Arsenal's title race, hitting a speed bump, let's just call it that, after they lost 3-2 to Man United. Level at halftime, they hadn't even scored because it was a Martinez own goal and Buemo equalised, yeah. Then Dorgu put United ahead. Marino levelled, and then Cunha with a sublime winner. Leaders Arsenal are only 4 points ahead of City and Aston Villa after Villa beat Newcastle 2-0 to stay behind City on goal difference. Arsenal boss Mikel Arteta.
At the end, we have to show the mental strength that we have on the pitch when it comes to match day. And we were absolutely brilliant in Milan, and today we weren't that good. I don't know if it was mental because how much they play, but because we were poor, especially technically in certain aspects of the game, than against a team that when you make those mistakes, they can punish you big time. And that was the difference.
Chelsea got a 3-1 win over a 10-man Crystal Palace to move up to 5th. Nottingham Forest edged away from relegation with a 2-0 win over Brentford tonight. Everton plays Leeds. At home, Amazulu beat TS Galaxy 3-2. They're up to 4th in the Premiership. Durban City with a 1-0 win over Polokwane. In the CAF Confederations Cup, Kaizer Chiefs beat Zesco 1-0 yesterday. On Friday, Sundowns drew 2-2 with Al Hilal in the Champions League. And Australian Open tennis from this morning. The women's defending champion Marion Keys has been knocked out by Jessica Pegula 6-3, 6-4. Yesterday, Alcaraz booked his place in the quarterfinals, played Demina, while the third seed Zverev will take on Tien, who shocked the 11th seed Medvedev in straight sets. Cindy Paluta, Eyewitness News Sport.
You may not know this, but that genius, Albert Einstein, he never wore socks. Which proves that even the smartest people aren't always smart. But you can shop like an absolute genius at Deco Furniture with unbeatable deals on office chairs, desks, and much more. Plus up to 50% off end-of-range items. Work smarter, study smarter, and definitely shop smarter at Decophone Furniture right now. In store or at decophoneSA.co.za.
Don't blow your paycheck on high car insurance premiums when you could be saving with Outsurance. So how much does 35-year-old Zanai save?
A whopping 1,180 Rand.
That's an incredible 1,180 Rand monthly saving on Zanai's 2017 Mercedes-Benz GLA. Get a quote now and see how much Outsurance could save you. SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142.
With Outsurance, I'm saving a whole 729 Rand.
729 Rand is a sweet saving on 32-year-old Parushka's 2020 Haval H2. And after 3 claim-free years, you get an out bonus.
Yes, I'm ready for that out bonus.
You also get benefits like 24/7 roadside assistance and loads more. Get a quote now and see how much money Outsurance could save you. SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142. Licensed insurer in FSP. TCs and information online. Limits apply.
Every man deserves a view framed by excellence. See the world in luxury with the Bogart Man sunglasses. Made for confidence, built for distinction. And now, you can win a pair of your own. Just follow @BogartMan Official on all platforms. Post your Bogart-inspired look that needs a pair of Bogart Man shades and tag us, because true style doesn't shout, it speaks quietly with power. Bogart Man, enough said. T's and C's apply.
The stage is set, the questions are ready, and it's time for you to shine. The 2026 edition of The Brain of 702, the ultimate trivia showdown. So whether you're the quiz master in your friendship group, a walking encyclopedia, or someone who just thrives on a challenge, this is your chance to prove your mental might and claim the title of The Brain of 702. Go head-to-head with sharp minds to become the brain of the day and get 1,500 Rand for each round you win. Be the last contestant standing at the end of the week and be crowned the Brain of the Week. That'll give you an extra 10,000 Rand. As a weekly winner, you'll compete in the grand finale for the ultimate bragging rights and the Brain of 702 title, along with a dazzling 30,000 Rand courtesy of 702. To enter, go to the 702 section on primemediaplus.com. If selected, you'll face a qualifier, and if you impress us, you'll step into the spotlight and play live on the radio. The Brain of 702 kicks off Monday, 2nd February on 702 Breakfast with me, Bongani Bingwa, and Afternoon Drive with John Pullman. Don't miss the quiz where great minds meet. T's and C's apply.
EWN Traffic.
How are the roads looking at this hour? It's 10 to 7, Amo.
Well, Bongani, we've got a major accident scene in Kempton Park. It's along Modderfontein Road. It happened after Mooifontein Road. It's causing heavy delays heading towards the R21. This could take you about 20 minutes, so please be on the lookout there. While traveling on the N3 North, we've got queuing traffic there. This is between the interchange and Modderfontein Road, and that's due to peak time delays as well as roadworks right near London Road. Please be on the lookout there. More updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Life keeps getting busier. Parenting, shopping, working, exercising, just surviving. With all of that, who has time for anything else? That's why Netcare introduces Netcare Appointmed. Just tell us what you need, a specialist, GP or dentist, and we'll search our nationwide network of 5,000 doctors and find an appointment with a doctor who best suits your needs and medical aid. That's Netcare Appointmed on the Netcare app.
702.
Coming up at 7:15, the big interview.
Switching to Outsurance Business Insurance was a quick process. I saved a lot of money.
Outsurance Business Insurance clients know that it pays to switch. And did you know you could get a massive 20% discount on your business insurance premium when you switch? For boutique hotels, catering companies, and all other businesses. Get a quote today and see why it pays to switch to Outsurance Business Insurance. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 0800 60,000 today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
At Checkers, 2026 is better with over 1,500 deals, like Clover Buttro Full Cream Modified Butter Spread, 500 grams for $79.99, save 20 Rand. Nestle Mini Chocolate Fun Bags, any 2 for 89 Rand, save 45 Rand. And Finish Dishwasher Tablets, 45, 50 or 56 per pack for $229.99, save 55 Rand. Valid until Sunday at Checkers, Checkers Hyper, or shop on 6060.
Who is the whizziest of them all?
It's the Whiz Quiz on 702.
Give away some cash, shall we? Today we are playing with 12-year-old Kovi, who wants to be an engineer later on in life. Kovi, are you ready to play with us?
Yeah, I am.
Do you know what you're going to do with 10,000 Rand?
So I'll give some to my sister Khami, and then I'll keep the rest.
Oh, you're so nice. You're so nice. Such a nice brother you are. All right, let's play the Whiz Quiz. KG, start the clock. Spell the word another.
ANOTHER.
Correct. In the animated movies, what animals are Chip and Dale?
Squirrels.
Chipmunks. True or false? Amphibians are animals with backbones.
False.
True. What is the capital and largest city of Zimbabwe? Harare or Bulawayo?
Hawaii.
Correct. In which province is the Two Oceans Marathon run every year?
Pass.
Western Cape. True or false? A triangle can only have one obtuse angle.
False.
It's true. Which word means consent? Permission or refusal?
Refusal.
Permission. What do we call a word with the opposite meaning? Antonym or synonym?
Antonym.
Correct. Which gas is I can't complete the question. A bit of a rough one there for you, Kovi. Nonetheless, 400 Rand. 400 Rand is what you walk away with. But a nice change at the tuck shop. Send us a WhatsApp voice note if you're aged 10 to 13 to play the Whiz Quiz.
The Brainy Kids of the Whiz Quiz
on 702.
Current events, developing stories,
tough questions.
Your voice making a difference.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa.
South Africa has the largest HIV treatment program in the world, with millions of people relying on life-saving treatment, medicines they get particularly through the government every single day. But two of our biggest suppliers have come into financial difficulties, and so the question remains, will we have enough supply? The Department of Health says the stock levels are stable for now, but how do we avoid getting into some trouble down the road? The Health Minister has graciously agreed to talk to us this morning. Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi joins us now on the line. As always, a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you for your time, Minister.
Good morning, Bongani. Good morning to our listeners. Thank you very much for having me. Compliments, because I never spoke to you this year.
Yes, indeed. I hope it's a good one. It's been a rough one, I think, so far for many South Africans. But Minister, perhaps just for background, can you paint the picture of just how challenging the situation is and what it means if these two large suppliers are experiencing financial difficulties?
Yeah, well, Bongani, this will always happen in business. So it's not something that is coming as a surprise or as a shock or something that is completely unexpected. Because in the supply chain world over, anything can happen. You can run out of the ingredients that you use. You can have transport problems. You can have tax problems, etc., etc. So we always expected something will happen. For this reason, when we issue the contract for ARVs, we make sure that we factor that in. That is why this contract was issued to 7 companies. We're not just choosing for their favor. We're making sure that if some company, for one reason or the other, falls into trouble, the others can ramp up their production, because it will be extremely, extremely dangerous for the country to ever run out of ARVs, because we are running the world's biggest antiretroviral program. And secondly, if you run out of ARVs, you stand the risk of developing resistance. And resistance means many more people getting sick or dying, or it also means buying more expensive drugs. So we can't take chances in that regard.
All right, so you say we've got enough stock for the moment?
Oh, yes, we have got. Bongani, when we launched the world's biggest HIV/AIDS program in 2010, let me tell you what we did. We used to hire a company to keep what is called buffer stock somewhere. The warehouse was somewhere in Centurion, where they keep the buffer stock, and every time we ran into trouble, the buffer stock is released. If it is not released because there's trouble, we release it and put more new ones, because we don't want them to expire. Now, we have stopped that process of buffer stock. We make sure that at any one time, provinces have got a 3 months extra stock than what they need. That happens all the time. And that's why we hired seven companies. And we check that every week. With all our facilities, we check the stock every week. And with all the suppliers, they must submit reports every 2 weeks about what's happening to them, how far they are, what is the production rate. So the system is really looked at very carefully.
We're talking, of course, now at a potential once-a-year administered new drug. We know, as you say, that these things are expensive, and to adopt them at scale is a challenge. How soon do you expect that we'll be able to move towards those treatments which will make this situation even more manageable?
Pardon, Bongani, I'm not sure whether I understand. Are you talking about the new drug that is coming to the market?
Yes, I'm saying how soon do we get to that point where that's what we're administering, something that's administered once a year? It could be a game changer, and obviously will deal with exactly this kind of problem. How soon before that becomes available through the public health system?
I assume you are talking about lenacapavir.
Correct.
The new, yes, lenacapavir. We are going to launch it in this first term of the year. We're definitely going to launch it. But remember, it won't affect the normal stocks of ARVs, because the ARVs are given to people who are already HIV positive, whereas lenacapavir is for people who are HIV negative. So this ARV program will still continue, because we have got 6 million people who are on ARVs. That's not going to stop and it's not going to be affected by lenacapavir, because lenacapavir is a prevention. You don't give it to people who are negative.
Right.
Yes, you give it to people who are negative, who have not yet contracted the virus. That's the difference. So it's going to help us not to get more people HIV positive,
right.
But it's not going to reduce those who are positive already. It's not going to have any effect on them at all.
All right. Appreciate your time as always, Minister of Health, Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi. We're not running out of stock. He says that we've got plans to mitigate against any such disaster, but obviously companies from time to time will face the kind of difficulties he's mentioned.
702.
Coming up, the big interview.
There were the eyes of the world, the who's who of business and politics at a really tense time in terms of geopolitics and global security. The international rules-based order under threat. That's if it was ever really real. What was our elevator pitch in Davos? To answer that, we've invited Minister Ronald Lamola. That's coming up after this Eyewitness News brought to you by Momentum. Financial advisors help you have a better shot at generational wealth. Speak to a Momentum accredited financial advisor. Momentum is part of the Momentum Group Limited, an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
This is EWN.
Madanga Commission of Inquiry resumes today, and tensions continue to rise in Minneapolis amid an immigration crackdown. Good morning, I'm Bali Dlamini. The Madanga Commission of Inquiry is set to resume with its public hearings this morning. The commission was established by President Cyril Ramaphosa last year to investigate allegations of corruption within the criminal justice system. The allegations were made public by KZN Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi in July last year. The commission is expected to continue over the next 3 months before tabling a report to the President. Madanga Commission spokesperson Jeremy Michaels says they cannot divulge the identity of today's witness.
Of course, for the safety of our witnesses, the Commission generally doesn't announce the details of who will be appearing when. We will continue with the theme of the disbandment of the Political Killings Task Team, the PKTT.
The Gauteng Education Department has moved to assure parents that scholar transport services continue uninterrupted today. Last Friday, disgruntled scholar transport drivers in the south of Johannesburg downed tools, threatening to extend their shutdown into this week. This followed a blitz operation by the Transport Department, which saw more than 60 unroadworthy minibus taxis impounded and dozens of fines issued for non-compliance. The provincial crackdown was triggered by a fatal crash that killed 14 children in Vanderbijl Park last week. Speaking on the sidelines of a joint funeral service for 3 of those 14 learners, Gauteng Education spokesperson Steve Mabona sought to allay parents' fears.
That on Monday we're not going to be disrupted. They must be assisted, those that need to be assisted, to make sure that the vehicles are supposed to be the way they are supposed to be on our roads.
Road agency SANRAL says it continues to monitor national roads affected by the recent heavy rains and flooding in Mpumalanga. Parts of the R37 between Sabi, Nelspruit and Mbombela were damaged during 2 weeks of bad weather earlier this month. SANRAL says sections of the road remain closed off pending further assessments. Human Settlements Minister Thembisi Milane also visited some of the affected areas in that province at the weekend, including the Bushbuck Ridge local municipality, where more than 2,000 households were impacted. Mpumalanga recorded 20 fatalities linked to the severe weather conditions. Simelane says aid is being prioritized for the affected residents, while efforts are also being made to rebuild damaged infrastructure.
Our Human Settlement Development Grant does allow the MEC to take a portion of that grant and fix the road. Because you can't have a house which you can access, then that house is no longer useful. So our grant allows us to fix a bit of some sewer. Let's say there's a destruction because of floods of a pipe, and now sewer is flowing down the streets.
We shift our focus to this now. The city of Tshwane has dismissed claims that attempts to blacklist companies linked to controversial businessman Edwin Sodi have hit a wall. It follows a report by the Sunday Times newspaper about what appears to be a stalled process to prevent Sodi's companies from doing business with the state. In 2024, the Tshwane municipality announced it was in the final stages of blacklisting one of Sodi's enterprises, Blackhead Consulting, as a service provider. Blackhead was part of a consortium of 3 companies that were awarded the botched 290 million rand tender to upgrade the Rooiwal wastewater treatment plant. Nogukanya Mtambo has more.
Tshwane Mayor Nasiphi Moya has denied claims that there's a lack of urgency in pursuing consequence management in the blacklisting process. She says the reason why it's taken longer than expected to blacklist tender tycoon Edwin Sodi and his associates is because the city had to meet several criteria stipulated by National Treasury. According to the Sunday Times, a report by the Metro's Supply Chain Management Division dated September 2025 reveals that attempts to serve Sodi and his partners with letters informing them of their blacklisting came to naught because the city couldn't find their addresses. Mayoral spokesperson Zinhle Mahlati.
Multiple attempts were made to serve notice on the affected companies and their directors through lawful channels. These efforts were complicated by the entities no longer operating from their registered businesses.
Mahlati says the city is preparing to make its final submission to National Treasury, which will then decide on any restrictions to be placed on Sodi's companies. Nogukanya Mtambo, Eyewitness News.
And in the U.S., former Presidents Barack Obama and Bill Clinton have called on Americans to stand up and defend their values. The calls follow the second killing of a citizen in Minneapolis by immigration agents. Alex Pretty was shot and killed by federal agents as tensions intensify over a mass immigration crackdown. Protesters have continued to gather in Minneapolis, denouncing immigration and customs enforcement. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz has renewed his call for U.S. President Donald Trump to pull federal agents from his state.
We want calm and peace and normalcy back to our lives. They want chaos. We cannot and we will not give them what they want by meeting violence with violence.
Gold is trading at $5,072.17 an ounce. The rand is at 16.09 to the dollar, 21.97 to the pound, 19.08 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $65.88 a barrel.
There's queuing traffic on the N1 North between the N12 exit and the Diepkloof interchange, while travelling on the N3 North bumper-to-bumper traffic between the Yelands interchange and Modderfontein Road.
And in your sport, Manchester United stun Arsenal 3-2 at the Emirates. There was also victory for Villa, Chelsea and Forest. Amazulu scored 2 goals in the last 2 minutes to beat Galaxy 3-2 in the Premiership. Sunrisers Eastern Cape are SA20 champions for a 3rd time in 4 years. And the Australian Open women's defending champion Marion Keys has been knocked out.
A partly cloudy Monday across Gauteng today with afternoon thundershowers expected. Lows of between 16 and 18 degrees and highs of between 30 and 32. The top story in EWN this hour. The Madlanga Commission of Inquiry is set to resume with its public hearings this morning.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
They say the early bird catches the worm. Great advice, unless you're the worm. Generic so-called wisdom doesn't work for everyone, so I settle for a financial plan that's one size fits some. Momentum accredited financial advisors take the time to get to really know your unique situation. Advice meets your context. Momentum, your journey to success. Momentum is part of Momentum Group Limited, an authorized financial services and registered credit provider.
Calling all the brightest minds in Gauteng. Time to flex your general knowledge smarts in the brain of 702. Enter now on primemediaplus.com. T's and C's apply.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
9 minutes after 7 o'clock. If you've just joined us, welcome to the program. It's the start of a brand new week, Monday, the 26th of January, 2026. Goodness me, does it not feel to you that this month has been so eventful, that it's just raced by? typically January is one of the longer months of the year for all the obvious reasons that come with January. But it feels to me that this month has just rushed off at breakneck speed. So much happening in the news at the moment. And as you've just heard in Eyewitness News, the extraordinary call by two former US presidents to stand up essentially to the incumbent, to Donald Trump. Yet another killing of a civilian by federal immigration agents, ICE as they are called. A 37-year-old nurse killed on Saturday during a protest. His name is Alex Pretty. Have a listen to the Minnesota governor, Tim Walz, who yesterday in Minneapolis called on the US president to withdraw his agents after they shot and killed this man.
Donald Trump, I call on you once again. Remove this force from Minnesota. They are sowing chaos and violence. We've seen deadly violence from federal agents again and again and again. And I call on all Americans to see the decency that this state is exhibiting and the horrific cruelty, unprofessional, absolute abomination that is passing for what these ICE agents are doing on our streets. Do I have any confidence Donald Trump will do the right thing? No, I don't have a lot of confidence Donald Trump will do the right thing. Thank God we have video, because according to DHS, these 7 heroic guys took an onslaught of a battalion against them or something. It's nonsense, people. America, as you're listening, enough is enough. Enough is enough of this. End this.
How many more Americans must be killed? And beware those who are calling for the military on our streets. This is the kind of thing that happens when you don't have people who are trained in policing, essentially trying to do that job. We'll reflect back to the World Economic Forum just last week in Davos. The Canadian Prime Minister really stealing the spotlight. Do you remember this moment?
Let me be direct. We are in the midst of a rupture, not a transition. Great powers have begun using economic integration as weapons. Tariffs as leverage, financial infrastructure as coercion, supply chains as vulnerabilities to be exploited. The middle powers must act together, because if we're not at the table, we're on the menu. We compete with each other to be the most accommodating. This is not sovereignty. It's the performance of sovereignty while accepting subordination.
Countries competing with each other to be the most accommodating. How many world leaders did you see fawning over Donald Trump when they were at the White House? I think the British Prime Minister even issued an invitation or at least from the King, right? The British King, Charles, the King of England. Is he King of Britain or England? That one. You know who I'm talking about. Competing with each other to see who can placate him the most. Canadian Prime Minister says maybe that's not the strategy. Let's work together as middle-level countries to try and forge a new world. Up next, we speak to Minister Ronald Lamola about what his pitch was. This is, of course, an election year, possibly. We might have local government elections more likely this year than perhaps early next. The ANC president, who is also the president of the Republic, on Saturday, he said the most extraordinary thing. Speaking at the National Executive Lekgotla this weekend, he says the ANC must end political interference in municipalities. He cited the Auditor General's findings on local government, and as the party met over 3 days and declares 2026 a year of decisive actions to fix council and drive economic reform, well, who deploys cadres to these municipalities in the first instance? What does he mean? Have a listen.
ANC NEC decided that 2026 will be the year of decisive action to fix local government and transform the economy of our country. In defense of our constitution, our democracy, and to build a better life for all South Africans, the ANC NEC says we must, firstly, fix local government and improve basic services, speed up economic transformation that should result in inclusive growth and job creation. Thirdly, We should wage war on crime and corruption and tackle gender-based violence and femicide as a national disaster.
So let's not interfere, but we'll send deployees to do what precisely? If you can make sense of it, you're smarter than I am.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Right, two big stories today. The Madlanga Commission of Inquiry resumes today with its public hearings this morning. Already, of course, a report is on the president's desk. Why he hasn't released it is unclear to me. I think the public does have a right to know. And we also have a right to know what he is, if anything, what he's doing about it, if anything. Also, that inquiry into the fitness to hold office of the suspended Joburg Director of Public Prosecutions, that resumes today. You remember, of course, the last sitting with the NPA NPA head Shamila Patoi basically walking out. Really quite extraordinary. Another unbelievable story, ballot boxes from the recent ANC Greater Joburg Regional Conference have been discovered at a private home in Pretoria. The find is linked to the controversial gathering that elected Loyiso Masuku as the regional chair and unseated Dada Morero. And it's raising fresh questions about how that conference was won. I mean, I don't know how the ANC tells us it's renewing itself when this is the kind of thing that happens. Adam Gilchrist has a story about French naval forces who've intercepted and diverted an oil tanker suspected being a part of Russia's so-called shadow fleet of ships, allegedly helping Moscow evade Western sanctions tied to the Ukrainian war. And what does Anita Baker, Michael Jackson, and Ellen DeGeneres have in common? What do they have in common? They were all born in 1958. Anita Baker, the legendary songstress, turns all of 68 today.
702. Up next,
The Big Interview.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now. You could save on your car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Amo?
Well, Bongani, we've got peak time delays on most routes at this particular moment. Delays on the N1 South between the Brakfontein Interchange and Olifantsfontein Road. Olifantsfontein Road in itself is heavily backed up towards the N1 while traveling on the Modderfontein Road. An accident right near Mooifontein in the Kempton Park area. Please be on the lookout. More updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
The Outsurance Pointsman can't help you find your work access card, but they can ease the traffic congestion so you can get to the office in time to check your seat. With the Outsurance Pointsman on the roads for the past 20 years, we can all get to where we need to be quickly and safely in the new year. Outsurance really means it when they say you always get something out, in proud partnership with 702. Show them some love online using the hashtag PointsmanLove. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
702.
The Big Interview
with Bongani Bingwa.
17 minutes after 7, on to this now. The World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, is where global leaders, investors, and decision makers meet to talk about money, jobs, growth, and the future of their country. This year, I think it was a particularly important meeting to attend by world leaders with so much geopolitical uncertainty and really not being very clear about what happens next on the world stage. So the real question is, what was our elevator pitch? Because leaders from around the world had a few minutes to really talk about their countries and make the case for investment and global, or at least security. We've invited our chief diplomat, the International Relations and Cooperation Minister, Ronald Lamola, who joins us now on the line. Minister, always a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you for your time.
Listeners of Radio 702.
Minister, you had the extraordinary job because, as I understand it, the president wasn't there, so you essentially were one of the most senior representatives of our country in the room. What was your elevator pitch for South Africa at Davos?
Thank you very much, Bongan. Indeed, we were led by the Minister of Finance, Enoch Godongwana, We had a story about South Africa, as you are aware, that we have turned a corner on the energy security with regards to load shedding, now having electricity and energy to be able to bring in investment, and also on the logistics sector, Transnet having done well to clear the backlog in the various ports in our country, but also us having just came off the back of the removal from the grey listing from FATF, the European Union, and other negative platforms. So South Africa had a positive story to tell. And also, as you are aware, we had just hosted the G20, where global leaders converged in Johannesburg in South Africa to discuss various issues of global significance, including the affirmation of the UN Charter, the reform of the international financial architecture, issues related to climate change, artificial intelligence. So South Africa had a very good story to tell with regards to how the G20 went, and also its leaders' declaration anchored on the UN Charter. And you have also been very aware of the work we have done with the African Union on the Africa Free Trade Area, the big market that Africa is creating, and also the developmental platform of BRICS. So South Africa had a number of platforms that shows that the country is on a good trajectory.
Minister, one would argue that all those developments, whilst welcome, being removed off the grey list, our energy progress, and even perhaps on transport and logistics, all of those welcome developments, but they were in a sense own goals to begin with. Nonetheless, there was the who's who of global leaders, business leaders, and our president was absent. Would you not say that that perhaps was a misstep? But more importantly, when it comes to how the international system is working, have we misread the room?
It was not a misstep at all, the absence of the president. Not all countries were represented at the presidential level. And as you are aware, some of them even in the previous year were not represented at the presidential level. Our president had attended last year and also put the pitch on our G20 presidency. He gave the message. This year, unfortunately, he could not be able to attend. So there was a message of South Africa that we delivered. And as you have already asked whether we have not misread the room, the message that came across from all leaders in Davos, in particular Canada, the European Union, and some of the leaders of the BRICS countries, was affirming what South Africa had always affirmed: the resolution of global conflict and peaceful dialogue through that is being anchored on the UN Charter, respect of the sovereignty and territorial integrity of countries. When discussing issues of the global financial architecture, it has also been the message that South Africa has always anchored on these issues, as I have already said, with regards to the declaration, if you remember, at the G20, and also our president's address to the UN General Assembly. We have always advocated for resolution of global conflict through peaceful means and dialogue, and that has always been anchored on the UN Charter, and that as the world evolves, the UN Charter should be the guiding tool for all member states of the United Nations and across the globe. And obviously, South Africa has always had various platforms to mitigate developmental issues and to advance such developmental issues, which includes the African Union, the Africa Free Trade Area, that South Africa has always championed, including the BRICS platform.
Minister, I'll tell you why I'm raising the issue of the president's attendance. I mean, it was great that he was there last year, but one could argue that there's a lot more uncertainty about what happens in the world next at this hour, and that perhaps this one was the one not to miss. And I wonder if you were in the room when the Canadian Prime Minister made these comments. Just have a listen.
For decades, countries like Canada prospered under what we called the rules-based international order. We joined its institutions, we praised its principles, we benefited from its predictability. And because of that, we could pursue values-based foreign policies under its protection. We knew the story of the international rules-based order was partially false. that the strongest would exempt themselves when convenient, that trade rules were enforced asymmetrically. And we knew that international law applied with varying rigor depending on the identity of the accused or the victim. This fiction was useful, and American hegemony in particular helped provide public goods, open sea lanes, a stable financial system, collective security, and support for frameworks for resolving disputes. So we placed the sign in the window. We participated in the rituals, and we largely avoided calling out the gaps between rhetoric and reality. This bargain no longer works.
We've premised our entire approach on believing that the rules-based international order is what it claims to be, and yet consistently we have seen that it is something that's applicable only to some, as Bongani says there in that clip. And one of the points he made was, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. Minister, there are many South Africans who look at our foreign policy and say, he's right, we're on the menu.
Yeah, maybe, Bongani, you should also play the clip of the president at the UN General Assembly, which he outlined exactly similar issues that Bongani outlined. The reform of the UN Security Council, the reform of the UN institutions themselves. In the G20 declaration, if you also play that clip when he closed the G20 and when he opened, our president spoke about the reform of the global financial architecture because it is no longer saving.
Why is it then that when Bongani says it, people listen, and when our president says it, they don't?
Maybe it's because we're Africans. That message has been said by many African heads of states and also by our president. You can play the clip from the UN General Assembly. You can listen to all the G20 messages. He has been saying exactly the same thing that Bongani said. There is no difference at all, except obviously the use of language and semantics. But the message was the same, that we need to reform all the global financial architecture, the UN Security Council, the platform of international engagements and resolutions of conflicts of the UN. In fact, he went further and said, when the UN was formed, almost 70% of the African countries were still under colonialism. Hence, now it needs reform to reflect the current realities of the African continent and that of the global South, not only of the African continent and even countries in the BRICS platform, like Brazil, like India, and so forth. So this has been issues that we have been raising, and hence we have also formed alliances with some of these countries to build for the reform of the UN and to build for the reform of the global financial architecture, which became a clear outcome of the Johannesburg Declaration.
Minister Ronald Lamola, always a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you so much for your time. And thank you for talking to us on 702 Breakfast this morning.
Is your skin itchy, flaky, red or discolored? You may have a fungal skin infection. Turbane treats a variety of fungal skin infections, like skin thrush, a red and itchy rash with small pimples, usually in damp skin areas, ringworm, a ring-shaped, sometimes itchy rash, athlete's foot, itchy, red, discolored or peeling skin on your feet or toes, and jock itch. Turbane kills skin fungus, and you only need to use the cream once or twice daily for 1 week compared to other 4-week treatments. Ask your pharmacist about Turbane cream and say goodbye to fungal skin infections.
Get your brain in the game, because the brain of 702 is back with your chance to flex your general knowledge smarts. 3,000 Rand up for grabs every day, and the brain of the week wins 10,000 Rand plus a spot in the finals to compete for the grand prize of 30,000 Rand in cash. Enter now on primemediaplus.com. Then catch 702 Breakfast with me, Bongani Bingwa, and 702 Drive with John Polman for your chance to be the brain of 702.
Look at camouflage, Dorf. I'm going hunting. Just me, nature, and my most underrated off-roader, a rental car. Hunting? You could fit that little car in your backpack, Dorf. I sit in the driver's seat. Baggage at the back, chairs on the roof. The kudu is going to get in and strap its own seatbelt, Savvy. Could do with more legroom, Dorf. Go hunt for a new 4x4 at Weeba Cars. They got great deals. Shot savvy.
Don't be doof, be savvy. We buy cars geared for that big trip, geared for you.
What happens when investment is driven by purpose? You build a legacy that lasts 30 years and counting. The Mine Workers Investment Company marks 3 decades of empowering mine workers and their families through smart, sustainable investment. Catch the Clement Mangatela Show in conversation with the MIC this week on 702. Find out how the 100% black-owned investment holding company has grown long-term cash-generative assets that fund education, social upliftment, and black business development across SA. That's the Clement Mangatela Show in conversation with the Mine Workers Investment Company this week on 702.
EWN Business.
Get up with business news now. Mutero Kharipe Truworths expecting subdued half-year profits. The market is stuttering.
Yeah, South African fashion retailer Truworths International says its half-year profit was likely to come in flat, just 2% higher compared to last year, as constrained consumer spending led to lower sales at its Africa business. For the 26-week period ending on the 28th of December, group retail sales were unchanged at 12.5 billion rand, a disappointing number which couldn't be helped by the Black Friday and Christmas shopping periods. Truworths Africa's retail sales performance remained constrained as South African consumers continue to face significant financial pressure, seeing sales down by 3.6%.
How many babies do you think have been named Nokolide so far this year?
I don't know. Maybe a handful.
Because, of course, gold.
Geez, like I said, when did I tell you? November? Maybe put money in some gold? It would have been... you'll be running to the bank today if you had listened to me.
Kharipe is a registered credit and financial.
Yeah. That wasn't advice, by the way. Gold climbed to a fresh all-time high, crossing the $5,000 mark an ounce on Monday, as extending its record-breaking run as investors seek the safety of the yellow metal amid rising geopolitical tensions and global fiscal risks. Spot gold prices and the U.S. gold futures for February are gaining 1.2%. The precious metals surge comes as recent flashpoints from Greenland and Venezuela all the way to the Middle East underscore higher geopolitical risk around the world, reinforcing gold's appeal as a hedge against uncertainty on the market.
The rest of your indicators?
The rand at 16.08 in a good position against the US dollar this morning, 19.07 against the euro, and you'll need 21 rand 97 cents against the British pound. Price of gold at $5,062 an ounce. It's up 1.5% at this hour. Platinum also up 3% at $2,858. Brent crude at $65.89 a barrel. More business after 8.
Straight to the news desk we go. The fantastic Mbali Dlamini at the desk. A very good morning to you. Let's go to our biggest national park. What's going on?
Well, Bongani, a very good morning. Some staff members remain stranded in isolated camps after severe flooding washed away roads and bridges at the Kruger National Park. Environmental Minister Willie Oukamp says much of the park's aging infrastructure was never designed to withstand the climate change-driven weather. He adds that engineers will now need to redesign bridges and develop new water management systems to better cope with future flooding. Oukamp says helicopters have continued to deliver food as well as essential supplies to workers who have been cut off by the flood damage.
There are 3 bridges that washed away during the previous floods. And unfortunately, the efforts and the work that's been done to rebuild them has now also been in vain. But those 3 bridges were redesigned to have a better capability of withstanding floods in the future. The process of building them started a few months ago.
Western Cape Premier Alan Windey says the province's top engineers have been deployed to Knysna to address a crippling water shortage before it reaches disaster levels. The intervention comes amid concerns that Knysna is approaching day zero. Knysna faces a critical water shortage due to low rainfall and the inadequate maintenance of water infrastructure and ongoing vandalism. The Akkerkloof Dam, the town's main water source, is at around 15% capacity, leaving a dangerously low buffer. Wendy says the Western Cape government has called for a disaster declaration in order to speed up the allocation of resources.
The disaster declaration allows us to put extra resources in, make sure that there's management in the system so that we do not run out of water. We already see the usage starting to come down, or the demand for kiloliters coming down, and we're bringing on extra supply into the system from boreholes, newer pumps, or putting new pumps into the system, repaired pumps into the system, so that is at least getting back to a balance so we can push it out.
We shift our focus to this now. Government has welcomed the decision by the World Economic Forum to name South Africa as the host of the WEF Africa Summit in 2027. This is the first in 7 years after the COVID-19 pandemic forced the cancellation of most global events. The announcement was made at the prestigious annual WEF gathering of global leaders in Davos in Switzerland last week. The South African government says the decision affirms South Africa's ability to host large-scale complex international events following the country's successful G20 summit last year. Acting government spokesperson Nomonde Mnungwa says South Africa's selection also reflects confidence in its institutional strength.
The WEF Africa Summit last took place more than 7 years ago in Cape Town. Its return to South Africa provides a strategic platform to advance continental cooperation, promote inclusive growth, and highlight progress on key reforms. Hosting the WEF Africa Summit will provide a significant boost to the tourism sector, support economic growth, and create opportunities for job creation across hospitality, transport, logistics, and related value chains.
And in Venezuela, more than 100 political prisoners have been freed following growing pressure from the United States. Non-governmental organization Foro Penal says it's still in the process of verifying the identities of those released. Venezuela's interim leader, Delcy Rodriguez, has promised to release a large number of the hundreds of political prisoners who are currently behind bars. Rodriguez took over power after President Nicolas Maduro was captured by U.S. Special Forces. Venezuela's political opposition and human rights groups have criticized the slow unfolding of this process to release those arrested under Maduro's administration. In your weather, a partly cloudy Monday across Gauteng today with afternoon thundershowers expected. Lows of between 16 and 18 degrees and highs of between 30 and 32.
And in the traffic, we've got heavy delays along the N12 West. This is between Snake Road and Atlas Road. Snake Road in itself is heavily backed up heading towards the N12. If you're traveling along this route, please let me know what exactly is happening along here. And there's also queuing traffic in Boksburg along the N17 West between Rondebolt Road and Osborne Road due to roadworks.
The top story in EWN. Some staff members remain stranded in isolated camps after severe flooding washed away roads and bridges at the Kruger National Park.
At Premier Hotels and Resorts, business travelers staying alone enjoy a complimentary drink every night of their stay. So, whatever your tipple, it's on the house at any of our 24 hotels and resorts nationwide. Book today at premierhotels.co.za.
The stage is set. The questions are ready. It's time for you to shine in the 2026 edition of the Brain of 702. This is the ultimate trivia showdown. So whether you're the quizmaster and your friend group, a walking encyclopedia, or someone who just thrives on a challenge, well, prove it. Prove your mental might and claim the title of Brain of 702. Brain of the Day gets 1,500 Rand each round you win. The last contestant standing at the end of the week will be crowned the Brain of the Week, taking an extra 10,000 Rand. And of course, there's the dazzling 30,000 Rand for the Brain of 702. Simply go to primemediaplus.com, and if you impress us, you'll step into the spotlight and play live on the radio. It kicks off a week from now, Monday, the 2nd of February. Don't miss the quiz where great minds meet.
Naked people smell expensive because naked people spend less money on insurance premiums and more money on fancy French colognes with names they can't pronounce. With Naked, you can cover your car, home, and stuff in seconds. And because it's all online, it also costs less. Go to naked.insure now, get a car insurance quote in 90 seconds, and start smelling like naked people. Naked Financial Technology is an authorized FSP. Get naked.
702
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Good morning, Bongani and team. You know, just listening to our President Cyril Ramaphosa in his speech there at the Lekgotla, listening to that man's voice is like watching paint dry. You know, it's the same repetitive thing he says over and over and over and over again. It's like a broken record. The emotionless voice where there's no vigor, there's no power, there's nothing in that man's voice. It just proves, and you listen to all these other presidents at Davos talk, and you compare that to our president. Sorry, sir, that's why we are where we are. There's no power in that man. He's given up. Literally listening to him is like watching paint dry, and that's the president of our country. Go compare him to the rest of the world. Thanks, Bongani.
I'm not sure if that's fair. I think it should have been the one not to miss. We did have a good story to tell around all the points that Minister Lamola just outlined, whether it's energy or logistics. Certainly the hosting of the G20, being removed off the grey list. I think we were saying, look, we've made some missteps. We're working hard to fix them. Mark Carney then has this incredible speech where he talks about this rules-based international system, and he says we all went along with it because we benefited from it, but we also knew it was applicable to some and not others. And yet, even now, our foreign policy positions are premised on the idea that that rules-based system works and is respected by all, when quite clearly people like Mark Carney, who says we've benefited from it all along, but it's actually a myth. Our president should have been there, in my view, to have those discussions with his peers, even if not in the plenary rooms, certainly on the sidelines, you know, in the smoke-filled bars, to say what happens next. I'm not convinced we had the best showing. But maybe all we wanted to do was to stay under the radar, hey? So Trump can focus on Greenland and forget about us for a while.
702.
What's the question?
What's the question is brought to you by OUTsurance, a chance for you to win up to 3,000 Rand in cash. First, 1,000 Rand for the answer, then later 2,000 Rand if you can give us the question. SMS out to 45142 now, and you could save on your car insurance. If you don't, ask OUTsurance for 500 Rand. Today's answer comes from Forest Hill, where we find one Lisedi. Lisedi, what's today's answer, please?
Is Palisa Lisedi's mother. Today's answer, good morning, Bongani. Today's answer
Palisa.
is 1958. Yes.
I apologize. I think for some reason the producers heard Lisedi because that's the name they've given me. Palisa, Lisedi's mom.
Yes.
The answer is
1958.
1958. That's a really good one. Palisa, have you got yourself a quote from OUTsurance?
Yes, I have requested a quote.
You biscuit. 1,000 Rand is coming your way.
Yeah.
You can share it with Lisedi. You can share it with Lisedi. Hey, buy something nice for Lisedi.
Yeah, I will. I will see.
All right, Palisa Lisedi's mom there from Forest Hill. The answer is 1958. What's the question? Call us if you know on 011 883 0702.
EWN Sport.
Oh, Cindy Paluta, the number of voice notes coming
sure.
for me because people are saying nyan, 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 because I've oft quoted you as calling Man United
a mid-table team.
I just call them mid-table because it's better than if you just set yourself up with that level of expectation, then anything above mid-table is just such joy.
Listen, they were hungrier. They had intent.
Yeah.
And it's really quite amazing. I mean, I know they talk about, what is it? The manager's bounce, right? The coach bounce or whatever. But it really just, it's a different team.
I think it's a huge one because it's City last week and it's Arsenal this week, and those are the two top teams, right?
Yeah.
So if you missed it yesterday, the Premier League leaders Arsenal lost 3-2 at home to Man United. Martinez's own goal and Buemo's equaliser had them level. After the break, Dorgu put United ahead. Marino levelled and Cunha got a spectacular winning goal for United, moving them up to 4th. Captain Harry Maguire on what's changed in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, obviously Michael's come in, he's been brilliant with us, he's brought fresh energy and the group's really galvanised, and obviously we've got a much bigger squad now as well. We've got the lads back from AFCON and obviously got players like Mateus coming off the bench who I'm sure he's not too happy sat on the bench the last couple of games. I know what he's like and he wants to play, but I must say he's made the difference in the 2 games.
Arsenal are 4 points ahead of City and Aston Villa. Villa winning at Newcastle for the first time in 21 years yesterday. 2-0 there. Chelsea beat a 10-man Palace 3-1. Forest beat Brentford 2-0. In the Betway Premiership, Amazulu scoring 2 goals in the last 2 minutes to beat TS Galaxy 3-2. They're up to 4th. Durban City beat Polokwane 1-0. While in the CAF Confederations Cup, Kaizer Chiefs beat Zesco 1-0. Sunrisers Eastern Cape are SA20 champions. They beat the Pretoria Capitals by 6 wickets. Devil Breva smashed 101 to take the Capitals to 158 for 7. Janssen took 3 for 10. Sunrisers Eastern Cape with Bretzke and Stubbs unbeaten on 68 and 63 got the win with 4 balls to spare. Sunrisers captain Tristan Stubbs.
We got a really good bowling attack. That really helps. But it's been awesome. The team's been great. We've had lots of fun off the field, and it's been a great month.
Australian Open tennis this morning. Anisimova got a straight sets win, set up a quarterfinal with Pegula. Jessica Pegula knocked out the defending champion Marianne Keane 6-3, 6-4. The two had a friendly bet. Now Keys, who lost, has to eat apple pie with melted cheddar cheese on top.
A bet is a bet, so I'll do it. I hope it's less gross than I think it's going to be, but we will find out, I guess.
And the Stormers suffering their first loss in the URC this weekend, going down to the Sharks. The game also cost them captain Salman Murat, who's injured. The Lions, who drew, are 7th on the table. The Bulls are 11th. The Sharks in 14th. Cindy Paluta, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
Catch up with the roads exactly 7:45. How's it looking on this Monday, Amo?
Well, Bongani, very busy on our roads. We've got a major accident scene reported along Winnie Mandela Drive right near Bailey Clare Drive. It's causing heavy delays. There's also queuing traffic on the N1 South between Rivonia Road and Winnie Mandela Drive. This is due to peak time delays. And if you are leaving Randbeck at this particular moment, we've got roadworks taking place right on the N1 North after Malibongo Drive. Delays coming out of Bayers Nadia Drive, about a 20-minute hold up there. And of course, delays on the N12 West in the east of Joburg. This is between Snake Road and Atlas Road. Please be on the lookout there and keep it safe on the roads. More updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Corporates That Care promotes and encourages corporate leaders and all citizens to walk the talk for a better South Africa. Catch Corporates That Care this Wednesday at 10 to 9 featuring Hollywood Bets. Their spokesperson, Mpumelelo Lembede, will be in conversation with us, and we do this every Wednesday to highlight efforts of companies and brands dedicated to building our country. Corporates That Care is a Prime Media Cares initiative with 702 and Prime Media Outdoor. 702, let's walk the talk and together make a difference.
So you thought you were building a business in this economy, but day by day, somehow it grew. You kept going when the freezer didn't freeze, the bucket didn't budge, and the bank balance barely blinked. So you thought you were building a business. You weren't. It was building you. Because this isn't just what you do anymore. It's who you are. And you don't trust just anybody to protect it. Chat to your broker about Old Mutual Insure Business Insurance. Protect what built you. Old Mutual Insure Limited is a licensed FSP and non-life insurer.
Hi, this is Carol Shabalala, Hollywood Bets brand ambassador. It's more fun when it's for fun. Playing responsibly is always a winning strategy. If you or someone you know needs help, call the South African Responsible Gambling toll-free counseling line on 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. Hollywood Bet supports responsible gambling. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop.
702.
What's the question?
For 2,000 Rand in cash, all thanks to Outsurance. Please tell me, what's the question? If the answer is 1958, let's go to Pindile. Pindile, what's the question?
The question is, what year was legendary American jazz and soul singer born in?
Say that again. What year was?
What year was the Anita Baker, the legendary American jazz and soul singer, born?
You forgot to say Anita Baker the first time. It's extraordinary. Did you realize Anita Baker, Ellen DeGeneres, and Michael Jackson were all born in the same year?
I know about Michael Jackson because I'm a fan.
Hulle is Ntangas. Hey?
Yeah,
like Anita Baker, Anita Baker, Anita Baker. But I don't think of Michael Jackson as Timer Jackson. Doesn't matter. Pindile, 2,000 Rand is coming your way. All thanks to Outsurance and 702.
Thank you very much.
I won't be neglected, I won't be denied the pleasure of your kisses, the pleasure of your smile. I think you take for granted that I'll always be here just because I love you. It doesn't mean I won't disappear. I'm missing you, baby. Missing you, baby. Thoughts and mellow memories of once upon a time, slowly creeping on me and then they go on my mind.
Don't pay more than you need to for car insurance. 27-year-old Outsurance client Liam is saving big bucks.
Saving so much every month, around 640 Rand.
That's an amazing 640 Rand saving on Liam's 2020 Ford Ranger. SMS out to 45142. Let's hear how 45-year-old Nivan feels about saving 461 Rand a month on his 2025 VWT Cross.
Saving me so much money, 461 Rand.
Nice one. And after 3 claim-free years, you get an out bonus.
So much money.
Get a quote now and see how much money Outsurance could save you. SMS out to 45142. If you don't save, ask for 500 Rand or 1,500 Rand if you've been claim-free and with the same insurer for 3 years. Savings or cash. You have nothing to lose with Outsurance. SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
Stop and think. Will you survive the AI revolution or thrive? Regenesis students are thriving. 11 cutting-edge schools, 111 countries, a world-class team of 1,111 with one mission to awaken your potential. You can choose from law, business, technology, AI, health, economics, entrepreneurship, public management, skills academy, and digital Regenesis. Undergraduate, postgraduate, upskilling, customized corporate program. The question isn't, can you afford to enroll? It's, can you afford not to? Enroll now. Regenesis.net. Achieve your dreams.
Let's hear from Susan, owner of Leopard Song Manor, why it pays to switch to Outsurance Business Insurance.
We were with our previous insurer for 13 years. Switching made me aware of things that we weren't covered for. It was a quick process. I saved a lot of money.
For boutique hotels, catering companies, and all other businesses, get a quote today and see why it pays to switch to Outsurance Business Insurance. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 08600 60,000 today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
The Checkers Hyper Price Drop is here. Save up to 40% on deals like marinated pork spare ribs for $79.99 per kilo. Save 20 Rand. Clover bulk cheddar or Gouda cheese 800 grams. Any two for 199 Rand. Save 100 Rand. And a Morphe Richards digital microwave 20 litre for $8.99. Save 400 Rand. Deals valid until this Sunday only at Checkers Hyper.
702
702. What's gone viral?
with Kabazela.
Catch up now with the world of viral content. Kabazela.
Good morning to you, Bele, and condolences.
Oh, wow.
What a victory, what a victory. I was sitting there last night when it was 2-2, and then that goal came by Kuna. And the first person I thought of was you, followed by John Pillman.
If anybody's joining us, those who are Arsenal fans are in sackcloth and ashes. We're in mourning today. But listen, I mean, there's a clip I saw of Arsene Wenger really talking about the job that Carrick has done at Man United to turn things around in such a short space of time. I mean, to slay both Man City, their arch rivals, and of course Arsenal in 2 successive weeks, I think is pretty impressive. But we'll bounce back from this, and it brings us actually to a really interesting discussion. What goes into choosing the team that you support? Because I'm one of those that believes you can't change. Once you've chosen, it's near impossible to change your team.
Yeah, it's you should never change. I mean, even if your team is going through a massive problem, change, drought, whatever you want to call it, you have to be loyal.
Yeah, even if it's a mid-table team, yeah?
Yeah, like Manchester United were, because now I think we're sitting fourth. But, the question is how did you choose the team that you support? So the graphic that I saw on X was a father holding his little boy who's wearing a Newcastle shirt, and it says, the club you support should be where you grew up or your dad's team. So that's a very interesting one. I mean, there might be households where there's a father who supports X and the son supports Y, and there's maybe a different reason as to why the son went with that team. Well, you maybe grew up in a house where you don't have a dad, you grew up with your mom, etc., etc. Maybe you got influenced by your uncles, your granddad, whoever it may be. But it's a good question. So I wanted to ask our listeners this morning, the team you support locally and internationally, how did you come about picking those teams? Was it because your dad influenced you to pick those teams? Was it because you like the color of the kit, the logo of the club, the badge? There's so many things, players that could influence it. So I'd love to know what influenced your decision to support the team that you support.
The Invincibles.
Yeah.
It's as simple
Tell
as
me,
that.
give me more.
The squad that was Pires, Vieira, Thierry Henry. It was a moment, and I didn't really have a dog in the fight as far as the Premier League was concerned. I wasn't a Man United, I wasn't Liverpool, but that squad.
You were significantly older when you picked
that
that team.
It was much later.
So,
I remember the likes of Ian Wright and what they did in their time, but it wasn't quite until the Vavavoom came along that it was...
When they started winning, right?
It was science. Listen, this was at a time when Man United were very dominant, so I could very easily have gone that way.
Yeah, you could have.
But that team and Wenger and just the magic and the style of football, right? The carpet football they were playing, which is what we're criticized for not doing enough of now. So that's when the deal was sealed, and haven't looked back since. And we're hoping that this is the 1 year we get rewarded. All right, what team do you support? In which league? What was the greatest influence that made you go that way? Was it something that, I don't know, say an older figure in your life, a dad, a mom, had once supported? And goodness me, have you ever done the blasphemous thing and changed teams? Tell us why.
702
702. Feedback
with Siamtanda Matiso.
Siamtanda Matiso,
Good
Are you
morning.
a supporter of football in any way, shape, or form?
Not at all, Bongs. I support them according to the crush I have in the team. So when I
So
had
who's
a
your
huge
current
crush
crush?
on Ronaldo when he was in Real Madrid, I supported Real Madrid. I knew the whole team. Now I don't support
You don't
anyone
have a
because I
football
don't
crush.
have a football crush.
That
So
is-
I'm the worst when it comes to it. And also I'm too emotional to follow any football team.
Yeah, no. Listen, nights like last night.
Yeah.
Remind us why it's safer to take your position.
Also, it was such a shock for me. Like last year when we were buying your T-shirt, it was sold out in every shop. I even called Amu frustrated. I was like, Mara Amu, what's it with pirates?
Yeah.
Like, why am I
So,
not finding any
For
T-shirts?
context, the team last year as my birthday present surprised me with an Orlando Pirates shirt. You know the new
Yeah.
one, the blue and pink one? Is it grey or is it blue? Bluish, greyish?
Yeah.
Blue-grey with
yeah.
the shades of pink. I should wear it tomorrow.
Before we get emotional with the whole menu Arsenal match that happened yesterday, you also played that clip of Minister of Correctional Services debating, saying that we should debate about corporal punishment in prisons. And others are agreeing with the minister, saying actually harsher punishment might make people think twice about committing a crime, while others are saying, listen, I would rather they do community service. Our streets are not clean. There's potholes. They might help there. So instead of corporal punishment, violence never assisted in anything, never corrected anything, according to 702 Landers, as well as them reacting to the EFF, alleged EFF members who were at that Flyser Fair flight.
They are
with
EFF
Flights
members, like,
Fair,
guys,
saying they're
alleged.
investigating it.
Aye.
Well, many of 702 Land are saying there should be punishment when it comes to this, whether they are penalized, something needs to be done. That behavior is not acceptable. It's disrespectful. It's rude. There are people who are working when they are up there. There are people who want to take that short nap when they just need peace of mind when you are in a flight. You don't want to hear any struggle songs. So yeah, that and more reactions for the 702 Landers this morning.
All right, we'll take your calls. Were you impressed with the elevator pitch we made at Davos? Do you believe President Ramaphosa should have been in the room when other world leaders and the who's who of politics and economics and business were gathered together to state the case? So much of what we argued for shouldn't have happened in the first place, right? Those were our own goals, essentially. And now we're telling the world, oh, we're doing better. We're doing so much better. Or do you think, hang on, he had bigger priorities here in South Africa? Your thoughts. Let's talk.
This is EWN.
A new witness to take the hot seat at the Malanga Commission of Inquiry, and will DJ Warris murder accused be released on bail? Good morning, I'm Bali Dlamini. A new witness is set to take the stand at the Malanga Commission of Inquiry in Pretoria this morning. Proceedings resume today following a break over the festive season. The commission was established by President Cyril Ramaphosa last year to investigate allegations of corruption in the criminal justice system. The allegations were made public by KZN Police Commissioner Ntantam Kwanazi in July of last year. The commission is expected to continue over the next 3 months before tabling a report to the President. Malanga Commission spokesperson Jeremy Michael says they cannot divulge the identity of today's witness.
Of course, for the safety of our witnesses, the Commission generally doesn't announce the details of who will be appearing when. We will continue with the theme of the disbandment of the Political Killings Task Team, the PKTT.
In the courts now, the man accused of orchestrating the murder of Warwick Stock, popularly known as DJ Warris, is expected back in court this morning for the verdict of his bail application. 44-year-old Soweto taxi boss Victor Majola is facing charges of premeditated murder and conspiracy to commit a crime. Stock was gunned down in the Joburg CBD more than a month ago. Majola's bail application stretched over 4 days at the Johannesburg Magistrates Court earlier this month. Oren Singh has more.
Victor Majola began his bail application last Tuesday when the state called the investigating officer in the case to testify. Captain A.B. Montwedi of the Gauteng Provincial Investigation Unit alleged that Majola was the mastermind behind Warwick Stock's murder. He alleged that Majola was found in possession of personal information about DJ Warris on his cell phone, including his vehicle registration and address. The court further heard that Majola's girlfriend, Hlengiwe Buthelezi, was one of 5 people Stock made protection order applications against 4 days before he was killed on December 16th. While Majola will hear his fate on bail today, police remain on the hunt for the shooter and his accomplice, who were caught on CCTV footage carrying out the murder. Arun Singh, Eyewitness News.
As the ANC tightens monitoring of its public representatives, the party says the removal of poor-performing deployees will be based on evidence and not factionalism. Yesterday, the party concluded its 2-day national Lekgotla in Boksburg, Ekurhuleni. It says delegates at the Lekgotla drew up a plan of action to fix a number of government issues, accompanied with clear timelines on when they should be achieved. While this plan of action is yet to be made public, ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa says the targets are non-negotiable.
We must have the courage to replace deployees who are not performing the tasks that they are given. We must also deploy cadres that can fulfill the responsibility of the position that they occupy. We will implement mechanisms for monitoring, evaluation and accountability so that our decisions in this regard are based on evidence.
Staying with politics, DA leader John Steenhuisen says the party will spare no resources in its election campaign to win over voters ahead of the upcoming local government elections. The municipal elections are expected to take place in November or before the end of January 2027 deadline. They are tipped to be among the toughest elections in the country's democratic history, with a bigger number of political parties vying for a shrinking voter base. Steenhuisen says the DA wants to surpass its showing at the 2024 general elections.
Well, obviously we've got to make sure that we win in more places in November in the local government elections. And I think that many South Africans have seen through the work of the GNU just what we're capable of when you're given a chance to lead and to get into a position of government.
Steenhuisen says with a lot at stake, party discipline will be crucial at this time.
People feel local government level, they live in local government level, they experience local government level, and they hear local government level. So that is why it's so important we get into power there and start to change the lives of people, because that's going to give us a springboard. But the DA must also make sure that it doesn't descend into internal bickering and internal chaos, because that's the worst signal you can send out to voters.
While in the Philippines, at least 15 people have been killed and 28 others are still missing after a ferry sank in the early hours of this morning. According to local authorities, the ferry had more than 350 people on board. At least 316 have been rescued so far, with emergency teams saying they are struggling to handle the sudden influx of survivors. The region has a long history of disasters involving the inter-island ferries that are in use. In 2023, more than 30 people were killed when a fire ripped through a ferry in the southern Philippines. Gold is trading at $5,072.17 an ounce. The rand is at 16.09 to the dollar, 21.97 to the pound, 19.08 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $65.88 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got heavy delays on the N1 South. This is between Rivonia Road and Winnie Mandela Drive. There's also queuing traffic along Winnie Mandela Drive heading towards Sandton. Just as you approach Republic Road, this is due to an accident.
And in your sport, Arsenal's title race suffers a setback with a 3-2 loss to Man United. Sunrisers Eastern Cape beat Pretoria Capitals by 6 wickets for a third SA20 title in 4 years. That the Australian Open women's defending champion Madison Keys and the men's 9th seed Taylor Fritz are out in the 4th round.
A partly cloudy Monday across Gauteng today with afternoon thundershowers expected. Lows of between 16 and 18 degrees and highs of between 30 and 32. The top story in EWN this hour. A new witness is set to take the stand at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry in Pretoria, which resumes proceedings this morning.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
Your brain's a well-oiled machine. Now put it to work in the brain of 702. Enter on primeMediaPlus.com. T's and C's apply.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
8 after 8, the Madlanga Commission continues this morning in Pretoria. Proceedings resume today following a break on over the festive season. Of course, there's already a report on the president's desk, and it may well be that the president is thinking to wait for the full process to conclude. Presumably then he's already acting on what's already on his desk. The idea was that it wouldn't take, 2-3 years, in the same way we saw with the state capture inquiry, for a report to be published and then for him to act, but that he would do so as we moved along. Do you think then we as the public have a right to know what's already on his desk, to be able to work out what he has already acted on or not? What are your thoughts on that one? We're also going to look into the fitness to hold office of the Gauteng or Johannesburg Director of Public Prosecutions, Andrew Chauke. Remember that inquiry that Shamila Patoi walked out of? It's quite unbelievable. Ronald Lamola says his pitch at Davos was, look, we dealt with load shedding. We're dealing with transport. We're off the grey list. Is it enough? At a time of geopolitical uncertainty, we were having drills with the Iranians and then we're told later that actually the president had issued an instruction for that not to happen. We still don't know if indeed he was disobeyed, as we've been told, or if that instruction was given too late.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Last week, the big story on Friday certainly was the pre-sentencing hearing for Julius Malema. Remember, of course, he was found guilty of that firearm charge in the East London Magistrates Court. Then there was footage of a Fly Safair flight on Thursday night with many supporters of the EFF, likely members too, but they were dressed in their regalia, their overalls and berets, and they were singing on this Fly Safair flight mid-air to the discomfort of many of the other passengers. And I just wondered, and here's some audio of what was happening. This is 30,000 feet above ground, and should the cabin crew have just let them do what they were doing, or should they have interfered? And they're walking up and down the aisle of the aircraft, singing as loud as they can. Have a listen. Yeah? What station do you think they listen to? On the street, in the air.
Bongani.
It was sitting there. It was. That's a joke. That is a joke. What do you think the cabin crew should have done, Muteo?
I mean, get them to sit down. I mean, it's already nerve-wracking for some people, guys, to fly. And you want things to be as quiet as possible for you to land safely.
What if they were intimidated?
I mean, that could be possible, depending on how many of them were up and singing.
Hey, guys.
You know, you don't want to be fighting
There's
mid-air.
a good dozen. There's a good dozen of them.
You know, I don't mind them singing. I really don't mind them singing, but sitting down would have been better.
With their
Because we've
seatbelt
seen- Yeah, with their seatbelt on, and just singing for themselves and not being up on the aisle. If I want to go change my baby's nappy, where do I move? How do I move?
If you need the bathroom.
If I need the bathroom.
If there's an emergency, how do you deal with it? What should have happened on this flight? Kabazela wants to know your football team. What do you support? Amoramila, just one more time.
Orlando Pirates.
Muteo Horiba, just one more time.
Orlando Pirates.
What influenced that decision?
I would say it was my dad and uncle, but I think my aunt had a bigger role in.
You have a Mama Joy in your family, yeah?
Osma Tapel was that Mama Joy, because when we used to watch Pirates, she'd wait for the team announcement. Then she'd be like, yeah, Jerry's Kosana, legs of thunder, calling out every player, you know. Brendan silence, Krepeza. Like, so I got into it, you know. I really got into it because
Slow
of
poison.
yeah, you know, Edward Motal. It was a really good team. Then.
Man. You're taking me back. You're taking me back to the 90s now. Amo?
Well, for me, my mother always reminds me how stubborn I am when it comes to the team that I support, because everyone in my house, in my mother's house, is Kaizer Chiefs, and I'm the only one who supports Orlando Pirates. And my reason is I could have easily supported Kaizer Chiefs.
Yeah.
But I needed to know why Kaizer Chiefs. And for me, it didn't display at that time when I was young. It didn't display like a good form of play.
What team does my husband Calvin support?
He supports Kaizer Chiefs.
He supports Kaizer Chiefs. And here you are. Strong marriage. Siamtanda Matisa, the producer, says she doesn't care about the football. She cares about the cuteness of the player. And if the player is cute, that's where she goes. Hey? If that was the argument to be made with Miguel, I'd be supporting Chiefs. Clearly, I'm not in the same.
Wow.
I'm not in the same thinking as Siamtanda Matisa.
You're with Bongani Bingwa on 702.
Taking your calls on 011-883-0702.
We've got, I think it's Lisela on the line. Lisela, good morning to you.
Good morning, Bongani. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. What's up? You've called us. What's going on?
Yes. Today is my son's 21st birthday.
Yeah.
Bongani, I've got a little story that I would like to tell. And this will be very important to some of the men out there.
Okay.
On this day, it was at 12:10, just after midnight. I was in the labor ward. My son was born. And I was able to hold him and see him before his mother did.
Aww.
And I can promise you now, to this day, I still remember that moment like it was yesterday.
What's your son's name?
Relebuhile Marunye.
And what has fatherhood meant to you then, having had that experience? How did it shape your journey as a father?
I promise you, it changed me very, 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 very dramatically. I mean, I looked at everything from a different angle. Now, everything that I would have to do, I would have to think of my son and my two kids and and their mother. She's listening though. She's listening at this moment. Though she is on the radio in the Free State. She's listening.
I tell you what we're going to do, Lisela. I'm going to put you on the line. Hang on. Speak to the producers. Let's get your son's number. Let's call him. Let's call him and wish him. A story like that requires us to call him and wish him a happy birthday. In the meantime, Sindile, you're in Kagiso. You want to weigh in on the EFF supporters on that flight?
Yes, Bongani. I remember years ago, I'm not sure which year was it. There was a choir that was singing on the plane going overseas. And everybody was singing. Oh, the harmony that was there. It was so pleasant to listen to them. Now it's EFF people have a problem. I'm asking myself, why is that?
All right. I'm not sure if it's apples and apples, Sindile, but you're making an interesting point. If it was cute when a choir did it mid-flight, why can't it be the EFF supporters? I think the choir, for one thing, were seated, right? Their seatbelts were on. They weren't walking up and down, dare I say, menacingly? Or is that a dramatic word, Mateo? You're shaking your head.
No, look, for me, I don't even care if it was the box coming back with the cup from the World Cup. We're all on the flight. We all paid.
Sit down.
Just follow the rules.
Obey the rules. Simple as that.
Hi, good morning, Bongani and 702 listeners. Regarding those passengers on the flight singing and dancing, it wasn't just singing and dancing. They were in fact blocking the aisles. And if I was on that flight and I needed to get to the toilet, make no mistake, I would have made a pathway. I would have cleared that aisle. The other thing is, what about the cart? What about serving the other passengers refreshments? How would that cart move up and down that aisle? So there's always a place for celebrating and singing and dancing, but certainly not on an airline flight in the sky. So, yeah, thank you so much. Chris from Roodepoort.
Chris in Roodepoort, I think many people would agree with your assessment. What should the cabin crew have done? Because for all their training, I think it's one of those situations that you just don't anticipate. You don't really know how to prepare for it. All right, we've got Lisela back on the line, and the producers have been able to find Relebohile, his son, whose birthday it is. Lisela, let me start with you. We've got your son on the line. What do you want to say to him?
Bongani, I think this is very important. I had a chat with him this morning. But all I just want to say to him is, young man, you have got a big life. You've got a big heart. You have been my support. You have been our support as parents as well. Myself and your mother. You have been such an inspiration, even to your younger brother. You know, I just want to say to him, thank you very much. We love you and happy birthday. Happy 21st.
Relebohile, you are the eye of your dad's life. How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel very emotional.
What does your dad mean to you?
He means a lot. He's been there all my life, and yeah, we've been through a lot, and every time he's just been motivating me to become a better version of myself. They all mean a lot to me.
Listen, happy birthday. You're one of the lucky ones to have a dad like you do, who has loved you from the moment you were born. He was the first to hold you, and even now, he's your big champion. I hope you'll go on to do great things and continue to be the support that he says you are. A happy birthday to you. And Lisela, thank you for that inspiration. I'm all for present fathers who are involved, fathers who are there every step of the way. And I think that just made my day. John, you're in Winchester. This EFF supporter singing on a plane midair. What are your thoughts?
Yes. Morning, Bongani. Look, when I saw that, I was really irritated. But late yesterday, I saw a video that was circulating on social media. The same thing happened when the Boks won the World Cup. All right, mid-air, everybody was chanting, singing, moving up and down. Then it was acceptable to them. Why it is the big fuss now if it's EFF?
I don't know if it was acceptable then.
It's not, yes, what I'm saying. And we need to make it clear because I don't think it's safe. You know, we should have clear rules to say that when we are mid-air, people should be seated on seatbelts because I think it's risky, it's not safe.
Absolutely.
And it should be made clear.
Doesn't matter what the reason is, right?
Exactly, no matter how excited you are.
John, couldn't agree with you more. John in Winchester Hills.
EWN.
21 after 8, this EWN traffic brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now, and you could save on your car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Let's get an update on the roads. Amo?
Well, Bongani, several traffic lights are out of order and they're causing delays like in Marysdale along the R59 North and Swartkoppies Road. They're also out of order in Alexandra at the N3 and London Road and in Edenville on Mudfontein Road and Van Riebeek Road. Please be on the lookout there. And then traveling in the city of Tshwane, we've got an accident reported. It's right on the N14 North after Old Johannesburg Road. It's causing delays. There's also queuing traffic on the N14 East towards the Braakfontein interchange. Please be on the lookout there. More updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
You may be paying more for electricity, but with Outsurance, you could be saving on your car insurance. Like 35-year-old Zanai, who saves a whopping 1,180 Rand on her 2017 Mercedes-Benz GLA. Get a quote now, and if Outsurance can't save you money, ask them for 500 Rand or 1,500 Rand if you've been claim-free with the same insurer for 3 years. SMS out to 45142. So that's out to 45142. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP. T's, C's, and information online.
Need a seat? Try 7 or 5, it's your call. Want a sunroof? Make it a panoramic. Gotta have power? How does award-winning 138 kilowatt sound? The Changan CS75 Pro is big enough for the kids, smart enough for your playlist, and stylish enough for your Friday night too. Why settle when you can have it all without compromise? The Changan CS75 Pro. Drive tomorrow's SUV today. Visit changanmotors.co.za for more.
Changan, driven to evolve.
Municipal services are vital to keeping the city safe, clean and functional. By paying for municipal services, such as your water bill, you're investing in Johannesburg's water supply. Paying your services is not just a transaction, it's a commitment to your community's sustainability. Help pave the way for a brighter tomorrow, one payment at a time. Brought to you by Johannesburg Water, a water utility that cares.
Hello, January. You feel different to December. December was nice, wasn't it? January is strange like that. Because as much as December was easy, January is hard. Giving things up, getting fit, looking ahead, making plans, changing plans. And 11 months later, it's December again. And on it goes. Year after year after year. The thing is, December is how you should feel when you retire. And all the time you spend getting there should make it worth it. That's why, after 50 years of investing, we've learned that time is the greatest gift of all. And the good news is, if you invest early, time gives you money. And then money gives you more time to do the things you want to do. Like turning your Januaries into Decembers. Ellen Gray, long-term investing. Ellen Gray is an authorized FSP.
You keep your brain trained like a well-oiled machine. Now it's time to put your brain in the game, because the brain of 702 is back with your chance to flex your general knowledge smarts.
In which country is the famous statue Christ the Redeemer?
Enter now on primemediaplus.com. Then catch 702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa and 702 Drive with John Perlman. There's 3,000 Rand up for grabs every day. Brain of the Week wins 10,000 Rand and a spot in the finals to compete for the title of the Brain of 702 and an awesome 30,000 Rand cash on 702. TCs and more on primemediaplus.com.
702, The World View
with Adam Gilchrist.
25 after 8, on to news from elsewhere in the world. Adam Gilchrist, another fatal shooting by ICE in Minnesota.
Oh, my word. Yeah. What are we? Just over 2 weeks since the shooting of Rene Good. Now we have the shooting of Alex Pretty. Both of them solid US citizens. Neither of them were due to be deported. I mean, I don't know if this makes it better or worse. I mean, they're both shot dead by these immigration and customs enforcement agencies, ICE agents. And the fact is that particularly, I mean, Alex Pretty, for instance, was an intensive care nurse who had cared for military veterans. That taps into the whole sort of warrior hero kind of status thing that Donald Trump likes to proclaim. And yet it's his brown-shirted private army that have killed him and shot him, in the videos I've seen, at least 10 times as he was in the street. They say he was armed. There doesn't seem to be much evidence of that to support it, but of course there are two sides to the story. They say that he was making a move against agents. There's no evidence of that, certainly. And also that he was trying to intervene at one stage between a woman who'd been knocked down and the agents, and then seemed to just get in the way. Wow, for these agents to go around masked, seemingly untrained, unfettered, with no one to answer to apart from the president himself. You can see why the Minnesota governor, because again, this is in Minneapolis, the Minnesota governor, Tim Walz, has said, you know, all federal agents must be withdrawn immediately. And actually, even Donald Trump on Truth Social is suggesting that this could happen and that it makes sense to remove agents, albeit he's not exactly backing down in his statement that the right thing was done in the spur of the moment. Frankly, it's beyond belief what is happening in some cities in America.
What's also incredible, Adam, are the explanations from the administration, because as you say, the video evidence suggests the very opposite of what it is they're claiming. And then there's the arms argument. I mean, many of Trump's supporters are the ones who defend, is it the Second Amendment? the right to bear arms,
The
and yet
right to
now
bear arms, yeah.
the argument is that, oh, but he was armed. And you think, well, choose. Which one are you following? Anyway,
yeah.
Let's go to your part of the world now, close enough at least. The French have seized a sanctioned Russian oil tanker.
Yeah, in the Mediterranean, as it was, they claim it was part of Russia's shadow fleet. This sort of almost like saying a phantom or a spook, isn't it? The shadow fleet, essentially the tankers that aren't up front necessarily Russian, but find their way to Russian ports. It is said that this one, called the Grinch, so there's a Christmas spoiler. This tanker called the Grinch was, according to President Macron, subject to international sanctions, flying a false flag, and had been at the Russian Arctic port of Murmansk. It is now, having been seized by French, I think it was actually ultimately French Marines who went on. Anyway, it's now been moored under guard near Marseille. The crew have been arrested, although, of course, none of the crew are Russian. The captain and most of the crew, if not all of the crew, are thought to be Indian. But, as Emmanuel Macron put it, this has been financing Russia's war of aggression in Ukraine and had to be stopped. So we have this kind of steady but growing international movement to seize Russian stuff over and above what they've already seized.
Our next story, and I haven't seen the video, but just reading the details of it, Adam, make someone like me who has a fear of heights shiver.
Oh, yeah, just thinking about it. Absolutely. Yeah, a guy called Alex Honnold who scaled a Taiwan skyscraper called Taipei 101 because it has 101 floors, 508 meters high, lots of sheer looking steel, glass and concrete. I guess not completely sheer because there had to be something for Alex Honnold to hold on to. And the point is, he didn't scale this the safe way, like with a rope and a harness or a net or anything like that. He did it without any safety equipment whatsoever, just literally his bare hands going up 500 meters. Yeah, there are a few gaps and grabby bits, but otherwise, wow. Streamed live on Netflix, by the way, who had plans to cut away if the worst had happened. Luckily, it didn't. Alex Honnold is renowned for climbing El Capitan, the rock in Yosemite Park, without safety gear, again, without ropes or anything like that. And the documentary Free Solo, which I remember watching on a plane, absolutely fantastic. It won an Oscar. It's amazing. It is heart-stopping, as is this one as well. I don't know which is more terrifying, a skyscraper or the side of a cliff. Both up there, aren't they?
My worry is, when will he know he has done enough? I mean, one hopes that it never gets to that point where something does go wrong, but it's absolutely frightening. Adam Gilchrist, another brilliant edition of this Worldview.
EWN Business.
All right, it's not just gold, Tewa Khwaripe, but also platinum. And Volterra also reporting solid profit gains.
Yeah, benefiting from those higher prices. Bongani Volterra Platinum says it expects its annual profit to rise by as much as 106% on the back of record rally in platinum prices and operational cost reductions. The miner says it expects headline earnings per share, which is a profit measure in South Africa, at 15.6 or 17.3 billion rand in the year ended in December, up from 8.4 reported in 2025. Now, the earnings for the period were boosted by a 26% increase in prices for the Platinum Group Metal Group, as well as a 5 billion rand worth of operational cost reductions. That reduction came from its separation from a former parent company, Anglo American.
Truworths expecting subdued half-year profits?
Yeah, South African fashion retailer Truworths International says its half-year profit was likely to come in flat as constrained consumer spending led to lower sales at its Africa business. For the 26-week period to the end of December, group retail sales were unchanged at 12.5 billion rand, as a disappointing number which couldn't be helped by the Black Friday and Christmas shopping period.
Your indicators?
1607 is the rand against the US dollar, in a very good position this morning. 1907 against the euro, and at 21 rand 96 cents to get a British pound. Price of gold at $5,074 an ounce, or platinum is up 2.5% at $2,843. Brent crude at $66.11 a barrel. Stephen Grotes with more this afternoon.
Time now for your latest eyewitness news. Over to the news desk we go, and we start at Lutuli House in Balidamini.
That's correct, Bongani. That's where unemployed youth are expected to protest outside those ANC headquarters, Lutuli House in Johannesburg today. The protest by frustrated job seekers follows remarks by ANC National Chairperson Gwede Mantashe, who claimed that young people are not proactive when applying for jobs. During a TV interview with the SABC, Mantashe insisted the ANC has created an environment in which citizens expect the government to provide everything. His comments have angered many young people who believe that Mantashe appears out of touch with the lived realities of the unemployed. Alpha Ramashwana reports.
The National Youth Unemployment March is expected to begin near the Johannesburg Library this morning, with the ANC's national headquarters as its destination. Unemployed young people who've been searching tirelessly for job opportunities have been urged to bring their CVs and qualifications, which they will leave on the ANC's doorstep. Despite the uproar, the party's national chairperson, Gwede Mantashe, has not retracted his statements, maintaining that he was misunderstood. ANC Secretary General Fikile Mbalula recently urged Mantashe to clarify his remarks.
That matter, comrades, is not a joking matter. It must be clarified properly. Comrade Gwede, if he was not properly quoted, he must get to the media in the coming week and clarify himself.
Different civil and political organizations are expected to form part of today's march. Alpha Ramshwana, Eyewitness News.
In the courts now, alleged underworld gang boss Nafis Modak is due in the in the witness box in the Western Cape High Court today. Modak faces 122 charges and is on trial along with 14 others for various crimes related to allegedly operating a criminal enterprise. The matter was postponed last week due to one of the defense attorneys being ill. Carlo Peterson has more.
Nafis Modak's lawyer, Advocate Bashir Sibda, was due to re-examine Modak last week after the state closed its case against the alleged underworld gang boss in November last year. However, the matter was yet again delayed after the court heard defense attorney Advocate Pauline Andrews was ill and being treated in hospital. Presiding Judge Robert Henny postponed proceedings as Andrews' clients are linked to some of the charges Modak faces. The legal teams agreed Andrews needs to be present to defend her clients in case anything incriminating is said during Modak's re-examination. Henny told the court he will reassess the situation when the matter proceeds today. Carlo Peterson, Eyewitness News.
And government has welcomed the decision by the World Economic Forum to name South Africa as the host of the WEF Africa Summit in 2027. This is the first in 7 years after the COVID-19 pandemic forced the cancellation of most global events. The announcement was made at the prestigious annual WEF gathering of global leaders in Davos, Switzerland last week. The South African government says the decision affirms South Africa's ability to host large-scale, complex international events following the country's successful G20 summit last year. Acting government spokesperson Nomonde Mnukwa says South Africa's selection also reflects confidence in its institutional strength, infrastructure readiness and commitment to multilateral dialogue.
The WEF Africa Summit last took place more than 7 years ago in Cape Town. Its return to South Africa provides a strategic platform to advance continental cooperation, promote inclusive growth, and highlight progress on key reforms. Hosting the WEF Africa Summit will provide a significant boost to the tourism sector, support economic growth, and create opportunities for job creation across hospitality, transport, logistics, and related value chains.
In your weather, partly cloudy Monday across Gauteng with afternoon thundershowers expected. Lows of between 16 and 18 degrees and highs of between 30 and 32.
And in the traffic, we've got delays along the N12 West. This is between Padfontein Road and Atlas Road. There's also queuing traffic reported on the N1 South leaving Rivonia. This is towards Winnie Mandela Drive. Please be on the lookout there.
Top story in EWN. Unemployed youth are expected to protest outside the ANC's Lutuli House headquarters in Johannesburg this morning.
Do you suffer from migraines? Have you been previously diagnosed by a doctor and treated for migraine? Ask your pharmacist about previously prescribed migraine treatments that are now available without prescription. Brought to you by Sandoz.
Oh, I remember doing this in first year. South Africa's musical theatre classic Marabi returns on the stage at the Market Theatre with an exceptional cast. Launching the theatre's 50th anniversary year, this much-loved play with live music is directed by original cast member Arthur Mulepo. Set in the tough Doornfontein yards of the 1930s, Marabi follows a family chasing hope in Johannesburg, bound by love, loss, and unforgettable music. Marabi runs from the 29th of January to the 15th of February. Visit markettheatre.co.za for tickets.
So let me get this straight. You found a tertiary institution.
Yep, Emirates.
That offers a high-performance education.
Yes.
And uses real-world case studies in its course material.
Uh-huh.
Lets you develop your own ideas on how to solve real-world problems.
Yeah, well, yes.
All so you can make your mark in the working world from day one.
Indeed.
But you haven't registered yet.
Yes. No.
Unbelievable. Register at emirates.ac.za.
Okay, I'm doing it.
Emirates is an educational brand of the Independent Institute of Education.
Naked people are totally zen because naked people spend less time on insurance admin and more time meditating. Go to naked.insure now, get a car insurance quote in 90 seconds, and get naked. Naked Financial Technology is an authorized FSP.
702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Yeah, talking about teams we support. For me, I think I was supporting Liverpool since when I was very young, like primary 3 or 4, somewhere there. I saw my friends sending letters, pen pals, receiving magazines from Newcastle United and Manchester United. But they never impressed me. One day I just saw the name Liverpool with a jersey, I just fell in love. And that's all. In my area, everybody just supports Manchester United, Newcastle, and other things. But everybody was asking me, how come you support Liverpool? And it looks like we're only 2 in my area who support Liverpool. So anyway, that's my story. Eric from Victoria. Good morning.
Bongani, Rustenburg. How I chose my teams. Firstly, Pirates. It was my dad's team until he decided to move to Sundowns. I don't move around once. Once I pick a team, that's my team. And then Manchester United. It was mainly Andy Cole and Dwight York when I saw them play on TV for the first time, and I knew this was the team for me. Madrid, it was because of the Galacticos, Luis Figo and them. They were the reason I went for the team.
Bongani, when it comes to football, I grew up supporting Benoni United because I'm from Benoni, I'm from Davidton. And back then it was taboo not to support your home team. However, now I see people from all over the world supporting teams from all over the world, which is fine. But I think your choice should be the team where you come from, if you do have a team. Because if you don't support those people, you're not supporting where you're coming from. Thank you.
Morning, Bongani. Morning, team. I've been waiting for such a question. So mine is more local than international. So back in the day, growing up in Mthatha, my late brother, this one day came to us and he was like, what do you choose between a pie and chips? I was like, of course a pie. And he was like, okay, then you support Pirates. And then asked my little sister, what do you choose between a pie and chips? And then my sister was like, chips. He was like, okay, then you support Kaiser chips. It was such a cute thing. Oh man. And of course, because we were kids at that time, we didn't really grasp what was happening. So he just made that cute analogy of a pie and the chips. Gamba here from Midrand. Great show, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for the compliment. That's a very interesting way to get to it. We're asking the question, how did you get to support the team or teams you support? Was it an influence from an auntie, an uncle, a dad? Gosh, I'm from Mthatha, and if you grew up in the 80s like I did, there were only 2 teams to support. It was Tembu Royal or Mthatha Bushbucks, as they were called. Not Mthatha Bucks, that happens later, that watering down of what they were. And they had to be called Mthatha Bucks because of Durban Bushbucks, because then you didn't know which Bushbucks you were supporting. But everything about Mthatha Bushbucks was very much like Orlando Pirates. All of the same things. So that's how I transitioned then to Orlando Pirates when Mthatha Bucks stopped becoming a team. I've already explained Arsenal. I think Barcelona, from Samuel Eto'o to Ronaldinho, of course Henry later, Lionel Messi, that seems obvious enough. And I fully agree with those who say once you've chosen, can't look back. Cindy Paluta, even if you are a neutral sports broadcaster.
Totally neutral.
Yeah, right.
1000% neutral.
How did you go into choosing?
Just beaming this morning.
Yeah, no guesses as to why. How did you become a supporter of the Red Devils?
So, long story short, in broadcasting, we're not supposed to support any teams, or we're not supposed to tell you which teams we support.
I roll my eyes at that.
Because as soon as we tell you which teams we support, you suddenly hear a bias in our broadcasting that's not there. Anyway, how it became Man United was I've got two older brothers. The older one supports Man United, the middle one supports Liverpool, and they sat me down one day and they were like, we're going to choose now all your teams. I said, okay. And my older brother said to me, you have to choose Man United because Gary Bailey is the goalkeeper and he's South African. And I was like, okay. And lucky me, because then that was like 1990, 91 or whatever, and then they went into the gigs.
Bruce Grobbelaar?
And then
they could have made that argument for Liverpool.
No. And then then locally, my older brother, funnily enough, supports Province in everything, Western Province, and the middle one supports the Lions.
Rugby, yeah.
And the middle one said to me, no, you have to support the Lions in everything because we're from Joburg and they're from Joburg.
Okay.
So if I have to look back now at the decisions I've made in terms of the teams I choose, I will actually always choose a South African or a local team. So I saw, yeah. And funnily enough, Brian Habana, his middle name is Gary. He's Brian Gary Habana after Gary Bailey. And his family supports Man United because Gary Bailey was the goalkeeper.
Right.
So I think that's where we got our foot in. My dad supported Arsenal because he said he opened the paper and he read an article about how the players had all gone out the night before on a huge party night, and they'd come back and they'd won the next day. And he thought, I want to support a team where you can party and win. It sounds like the right balance. And that's how he got to Arsenal.
Maybe we're not partying enough these days, hey?
Yeah.
EWN Sport.
All right, for any football lover who's been off the planet since last night, give it to us.
I will give it to you one more time.
I've got, I follow Arsenal obviously on Instagram.
Yeah.
And they've posted that, look, we're going to regroup again for Wednesday. Yeah, it's a big thing. It's a big thing. Not the result your support deserved, Gunners, and they're saying full-time at Emirates Stadium, 3-2, a chance to turn the page quickly for Wednesday night.
Okay. Well, anyway, they lost 3-2 at home to Man United. They stay only 4 points ahead of Manchester City and Aston Villa. Arsenal boss Mikel Arteta.
At the end, we have to show the mental strength that we have on the pitch when it comes to match day. And we were absolutely brilliant in Milan, and today we weren't that good. I don't know if it was mental because how much they play, but because we were poor, especially technically in certain aspects of the game, than against a team that when you make those mistakes, they can punish you big time. And that was the difference.
Villa got a historic 2-0 win over Newcastle. They haven't won at St. James Park in 21 years. They sit just behind City on goal difference. Chelsea beat Palace 3-1. They're up to 5th, just behind United. Forest beat Brentford 2-0 tonight. Everton plays Leeds. High drama in the Betway Premiership. Amazulu scoring 2 goals in the last 2 minutes to beat Galaxy 3-2. Durban City beat Polokwane 1-0. While in the CAF Confederations Cup, a first defeat for Stellenbosch. They lost to Belouizdad 2-0. Kaizer Chiefs beat Zesco 1-0. Chiefs coach Khalid Ben Youssef.
Finally, I have to say congratulations for the players. We come for 3 points. We come to win this game. We don't come to play, we come to win. Congratulations for the players for their performance, how they fight today, how they deserve, I think.
Sunrisers Eastern Cape are SA20 champions. They beat the Pretoria Capitals by 6 wickets for their 3rd title in 4 years. Capitals lost despite Deval Brevis smashing 101. Sunrisers Eastern Cape got the win in the last over. Brett Scan Stubbs, unbeaten on 68 and 63, got the win with 4 balls to spare. The women's defending champion, Madison Keys, not Marion Keys. I keep calling her Marion Keys. Marion Keys is the author. Author?
Oh.
Is she not an author?
She might well be. I'm thinking of the Hollywood.
Is there an actress called
I think
Marion
there's a
Keyes?
Marion.
How funny are we? Anyway, I don't read, but Madison Keys
Clearly, I don't watch enough movies.
is out of the Australian Open. She lost in straight sets to Jessica Pegula. Pegula will now play Anisimova, who beat Wang 7-6 and 6-4. On the men's side, the fifth seed Musetti beat 9 seed Fritz 6-2, 7-5 and 6-4. Yesterday, Alcaraz booked a quarterfinal spot against a Minnar. Third seed Zverev will take on Tien, who shocked Medvedev in straight sets. On the women's quarterfinal, Sabalenka against Jovic and Goff got Svetlina. Stormers suffered their first loss in the URC this weekend, going down to the Sharks on Saturday. We're waiting to hear about their captain, Salman Murat, who picks up an injury in that match. Cindy Paluta, Eyewitness News Sports.
EWN Traffic.
Cindy Paluta, couldn't have been more wrong. I was thinking of Marion Cotillard, who is the furthest thing from Keys. But anyway, just goes to show I'm 51 and Arsenal lost. That's my excuse.
And it goes to show that I've got Marion Keyes top of mind, even though I don't read any of her books.
All right, Amo, you tell us the truth, because we're confused, Cindy and I. You be the grown-up in the room.
Well, I'll certainly tell you about the delays on the roads, Bongani. If you're traveling within the Midrand area, delays on the N1, both directions. This is just as you come in and out of Olifantsfontein Road. Olifantsfontein Road in itself is backed up towards the N1. Then traveling in Tembisa, we've got those roadworks taking place right along the R21 North, and they are causing delays. Please be on the lookout there. There's queuing traffic as well on the M2 West. This is between Heidelberg Road and the Crown Interchange. Obviously, due to peak time delays there. I'll have more updates at the top of the hour. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Remember where you were when Shaba scored in 2010? Now imagine that magic again, alongside global football royalty like Didier Drogba, Del Piero, and more. 2026 Juego de Leyendas brings the legends back for one unforgettable showdown. Goals, glory, and goosebumps all over again. Stream Juego de Leyendas 2026 now on Prime Media Plus. Download the app or visit primemediaplus.com. Brought to you by Prime Media Sport.
Are your nails discolored, brittle, crumbly, or appear ragged? Are they thickened or starting to lift off the nail bed? You may have a fungal nail infection, which can lead to discomfort, limit your activities, and have a negative impact on your social life because of the embarrassment. New Turbane Nail treats fungal nail infections by directly killing the fungus. It requires no filing before application and dries in about 30 seconds once applied. Ask your pharmacist about New Turbane Nail and say goodbye to fungal nail infections.
You won't believe how much money Outsurance saves 40-year-old Rafiq on his car insurance.
I saved so much money. 899. That's not small change. It's more than 50% that I saved from my previous insurer.
That's an impressive saving on Rafiq's 2017 Nissan Navara 4x4. And after 3 claim-free years, he gets an out bonus. How much money could Outsurance save you? SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142. Licensed insurer in FSP. TCs and information online.
Coming up
on the Clement Manyatela Show
on 702.
Let's find out what is on the Clement Manyatela Show between 9 and 12. A very good morning to you, Clement.
Good morning.
What's on the show? Well, first of all, how was the weekend?
Oh, beautiful. I played great golf yesterday, which is good. But golf is like that. Hey? You can play great yesterday, and then on Wednesday when you go play, you're terrible. So I'll take the win for now.
Okay.
So I'm a happy man.
Yeah, I'm a sad man because my team lost last night.
Who?
Arsenal against Man United.
That's
and I stayed and I watched the game. And then I couldn't sleep because my adrenaline, because it went down to the wire right. I mean, I think they scored the third goal in the 87th minute or something silly like that.
Oh, my God.
And so then, you can't
Was
sleep
it
after a
3-0?
loss like that. No, 3-2.
Okay, because then I was like,
wow.
The days of Arsenal, then are gone.
What's on? We're still the leaders of the league and the Champions League. Hold on.
For now.
Calm
For
down.
now.
What's on the show?
Coming up on the show, we're going to start with the 702 open line. And we'll talk about the controversy that erupted in Tshwane after the mayor on social media announced that Hoshimamburu Correctional Facility owes the city nearly 8 million rand in utility debt. she ended up going there to try and switch that off. Can you imagine what the consequence would be? Switching off a whole prison. Like, what would happen? Won't they escape?
But these political, theatrical stunts.
Yeah, it's...
Come now.
But then some people argue that you
she's
must
a
name
smarter,
and shame.
Fine, but she's a smarter politician than that.
So I'm going to bring the city to come and explain that.
She's a smarter politician than that.
And then that's on the open line. And then at 10 o'clock...
Wait, aren't you talking? Please include... Sorry, I'm not a producer on your show.
Yeah?
We just didn't get time. The boxes in the ANC regional election found in some backyard.
Are those the legitimate ones, though? Are those the votes? Remember during elections, that used to happen a lot, where you find boxes somewhere strategically placed on a street in Alexandra. But those are not really the boxes with
the claim
the
is that
legitimate
because
votes.
they've responded to it. They're investigating. Just
yeah,
just for me. I'll call it in.
I'll think about it.
I'll call it in.
I'll think about it. And then at 10 o'clock, we're going to look ahead to the Madlanga Commission. It's resuming this morning. So we're going to be reflecting on the testimonies we've had so far. What phase are we on, and what are some key individuals that
And
are
why
still yet
haven't
to
we been
appear?
told what's already on the president's desk?
Yeah, because the first report doesn't go public. It only goes to the president.
Yeah, until he makes it public. But we want to know what he has done or not done.
What is he going to do, though, with the preliminary report? It's an update.
But
It's
the whole
not
point
a
of the
resolution.
but the whole point was to get cracking. Let's not wait until 2 years into the process. This thing is urgent. It's about the here and now. Make decisions as the information comes.
Yeah, my understanding is that it's more of an update. I mean, even if he produces it out there, it's not going to lead to anything. It's just an update or, Mr. President, look at what we've done so far. 10:30, we do continue with our series looking at countries America has invaded. Some people say, no, they didn't invade. They just intervened militarily. So we've looked at Vietnam and Iraq. Today we're going to look at Libya. And then we wrap up the show at 11 o'clock with our Family Matters feature. We're discussing how to deal with competition in relationships, whether it's with friends, romantic partners, or family members.
Aye. Romantic partners who compete with you. Shame.
They compete.
They never win, do they?
Don't downgrade your vacation to a staycation. Upgrade the way you save. With a PSG tax-free savings account, saving towards that dream vacation isn't taxing. From just 500 Rand per month, save towards your goals. Invest up to 500,000 Rand in your lifetime, tax-free. To open a TFSA or top up your account before the tax year ends, speak to your PSG advisor or visit psg.co.za today. T's and C's apply. PSG Wealth Financial Planning Pty Limited is an authorized financial services provider. FSB 728.
Hi, this is Alia Itzebet, Hollywood Bet's brand ambassador. A reminder that you can still shoot for the stars while playing responsibly. If you or someone you know needs help, call the South African Responsible Gambling toll-free counseling line on 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. Hollywood Bet supports responsible gambling. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop.
The Money Show.
Weekday evenings at 6.
On the next Money Show, we're joined by Amanda Kromhout, the CEO and founder of Truth, a leading customer centricity and loyalty consultancy. She'll share her journey with you on how I make my money. In our business book feature, we speak to Matthew Parks, COSATU's parliamentary leader, about the latest book he's been reading and why it grabbed his attention. And, of course, we bring you expert analysis of the day's biggest business stories.
The Money Show
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes is brought to you by ABSA CIB. That's how we're invested in your story. Your story matters. ABSA is a registered FSP.
The stage is set, the questions are ready, and it's time for you to shine in the 2026 edition of The Brain of 702, the ultimate trivia showdown. So whether you're a walking encyclopedia or someone who just thrives on a challenge, well, prove your mental might and claim the title of Brain of 702. There's 1,500 Rand for each round you win. The last contestant standing at the end of the week gets crowned the Brain of the Week to win 10,000 Rand. And there's 30,000 Rand up for grabs to be the Brain of 702. It starts next week, Monday, the 2nd of February. Don't miss the quiz where great minds meet.
You're with Bongani Bingwa on 702.
Taking your calls on 011 883 0702.
We were due to speak to James Ngobo, the director of an ode to Motown happening at the Joburg Theatre, but we weren't able to get him on the line. And so we'll take more of your calls. We've been talking about how did you choose the sports teams you follow? And let's start with Stanley in Edenvale. Stanley, good morning to you. So firstly, tell us your teams and how you chose them.
It's Wolverhampton Wanderers.
Stanley, we're not hearing you clearly. Just start again.
It's Wolverhampton Wanderers.
Wolves, you support Wolves, yeah?
Wolves, yes. I know they're not doing well at the moment. But they toured South Africa, and South Africa played against them. And we played a curtain raiser to that game. So
when was that, Stanley?
1962.
1962, and you've been supporting them ever since. That was a lifetime. That was a lifetime ago, Stanley. That's a very good reason. I can't argue with that. Stanley supports Wolves because they toured South Africa in 1962. Can you imagine? Appreciate that call, Stanley. Also in Edenvale is William, your favorite team.
Good morning, Bongani. Yes, if I can just say the following. Jomo Stono, Jomo Cosmos,
Yeah?
Ezinkosi,
The Black Prince.
Ezinkosi for life.
How did you get to support Jomo Cosmos?
Well, you know, the man is, for me, is a very special man. He's a friend. And I was watching him back in the day when he was playing for Pirates.
Yeah.
In the late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah.
And he was unbelievable in set pieces. If Jomo was taking a set piece, it was going to be in the box.
It was going to be behind the net. Okay, and tell me, they're playing in the 3rd division now, Cosmos?
Yes, sadly. And by the way, for all you naysayers out there, we'll be back. I'm not sure when, but we'll be back.
The Lord might return sooner. Hey, William? Appreciate that call. Norman, you're in Emerentia. Your team, how did you come to choose it?
Hi, Bongani. Yeah, my story is a romantic one.
Yes.
Yeah, when I was in very early teens, I'm talking about the early 60s.
Yeah.
There was a comic book series that used to come out every month called Tiger.
Yes.
And included in this Tiger comic book was a Royal the Rovers football comic series. And I used to eagerly wait every week for the Royal the Rovers. And back in those days, which is now over 60 years ago, I fell in love with the side called Blackburn Rovers. And their star of the side was Royal the Rovers, as I said. And when Blackburn Rovers won the English Premier League in the early 90s, and Alan Shearer was their leading goal scorer and the inspiration of the team, this was a dream come true, that here was my Royal the Rovers star, and Blackburn Rovers had won the English Premier League to break the hold that the Liverpool and the Man U's and the Arsenals had. This was
a dream come true.
A dream come true.
And this was before he went to Newcastle, hey?
Exactly.
Norman?
So, yep.
That's a good story to tell. I'm not sure if I understood where the romance was in that one, but nonetheless, we'll leave it there. We've overstayed our welcome. It's 9:01. The Clement Manyatela Show starts now.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Bali Dlamini. A new witness is set to take the stand at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry in Pretoria this morning. Proceedings resumed today following a break. Set to take the stand at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry in Pretoria this morning. Proceedings resumed today following a break over the festive season. The commission was established by President Cyril Ramaphosa last year to investigate allegations of corruption within the criminal justice system. The allegations were made public by by KZN Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi in July last year. The commission is expected to continue over the next 3 months before tabling a report to the President. Madlanga Commission spokesperson Jeremy Michael says they cannot divulge the identity of today's witness.
Of course, for the safety of our witnesses, the Commission generally doesn't